Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Shutterfly. If you're like us, you take a lot of pictures because you have a camera right in your hand all the time. How would you not take a lot of pictures? And we're taking all these pictures, more than we've ever taken in the history of the world.
What are you going to do with them all?
That's the thing. You used to get a solid picture, and then you'd look through them, and you could enjoy them. Now they're like back on your camera roll. You can't even find them. You don't want that. That's why the cool thing you need to do, and what I did, and I think it's pretty cool, is create a Shutterfly photo book.
Oh.
What I did, and you're going to enjoy this, Jimmy, because I haven't showed this to you yet, but took all of our pictures from being on tour this year.
Oh.
All live show pictures, us backstage, us on stage, doing all that stuff, and like some of the, just the venues and things, and made a little photo book out of that. Also, they have free 24-hour designer service as well. With their 24-hour designer service, a professional designer is going to lay out the book for you for free in just a day. Make something that means something with Shutterfly. Enjoy 40% off orders over $29 with promo code SMALLTOWN. See site for promotional details.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Wondery.
This week in Oskaloosa, Kansas, when a young woman disappears and is found brutally murdered, the whole town jumps to conclusions, then jumps to different conclusions. Which are the right conclusions? Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay.
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy.
Is that enthusiastic?
It's a very matter-of-fact, it's a matter-of-fact yay. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us. We are sorry we did not join you last week.
Yeah.
That was a mess. Quickly, we took Thanksgiving off on purpose. We wanted to take that off. We hadn't taken a week off of Small Town Murder in like 6 months. So we said, let's take a week off Thanksgiving. And then last week we went to record and we had an involuntary Windows update that completely destroyed our computer. And that's our fault. We went cheap on the computer when building the studio. Good on the mics, cheap on the computer.
Because we're only using it for this.
And we paid for it by not being able to get an episode because then we had to fly. I had to fly the next morning, and then you flew the next day, and we were on tour. So we there's no way for us to record an episode. But
on the road, we ordered a new computer.
Thank you to Sarah for picking it up. Thank you to your cousin Shannon for getting us a discount on it that was needed greatly. So we appreciate that, and we're back. Done and done. And we have I gotta say, this might be the crazy. Jimmy's head might explode by the end of this episode because it's that bonkers. It's amazing. First of all, thank you everybody for your contributions patrons this week, everybody that did everything for us, iTunes podcast, whatever the hell, Apple Podcast, Purple Icon, everybody that gave us 5 stars and gave us a review. Thank you so much for that. Get on that if you haven't done that, please. Doesn't take much time, and it helps out the show a lot, drives us up the charts. It's a good thing. Thank you to everybody, our Patreon and PayPal people. We have our long list of producers later on that we're going to tell you about. These wonderful, really, they're the best people.
Coal shoveling sons of bitches.
Thank you guys for everything. Yeah, you guys keep this train moving along. If you want to help out the show, you can do that very, very easily. Start by going to shutupandgivememurder.com. From there, you can find everything. You can find the merch, get T-shirts, get tickets to live shows. Next week is the last run of the live shows, except we have to announce, what is it, January 25th? Seattle. It's rescheduled for the 25th. If you had tickets to the original show, they're still good.
Still good.
And if not, buy these tickets. It's at the Neptune, not at the Moore, different venue.
It's the same place, though.
Yeah, it's it's same spot. Yeah, same address, I think, and everything. But it's going to be awesome. Come there and see us.
The Moore really came through for us.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. We're also going to be in Florida in February one day, and we'll announce that in probably next week.
You want to say where?
Something. It's West Palm Beach. We'll be in West Palm Beach at the Improv. There. We'll tell you the date next week and when tickets go on sale and stuff. But we will be there. We're very, very excited for that. So head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Tickets to live shows, merch. Also, ladies' leggings now on Threadless. They put leggings on there, and
I love it.
Sarah is adjusting the designs, and they'll be up there very, very shortly.
Ladies only? Because listen, man.
Hey, dude, you want to rock some leggings, Jimmy? You are welcome to.
I'll slide my balls into them and take them to the gym.
Sit on here and we'll record. You could rock some leggings.
I love leggings at the gym. It feels great.
Well, that's good stuff right there. So anyway, do that.
You had a good mental image?
Head over. No, terrible. Head over to awful. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Follow the links over to patreon.com/crimeinsports, where you can make a donation, become one of our fabulous, wonderful producers, or head over to the link that takes you to PayPal. Use our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com, and you can make a one-time donation there. Very quickly, we'll do the disclaimer. It's a comedy podcast, guys. It is. We're comedians. Right. We're going to make fun of small towns. We're going to make fun of idiots if they mess up in their job, if they're, supposed to be investigating a homicide or something of that nature. Murderers, we're going to pick on them. These are the things we're going to do here. What we don't do, though, is we go out of our way to try not to make fun of the victims or of the victims' families, because we're assholes, but we're not scumbags. That's true. And that's the way it works right there. If that sounds good to you, then you're in the car.
Sounds good to me.
I love it. We're on the way to the liquor store. We're robbing the liquor store, everybody. Things might get hairy. You never know.
It's a hell of an announcement.
A trigger could be pulled, and a small Korean woman's brains could end up all over the cheap plastic vodka bottles behind the counter. And at that point, you're in now. So it doesn't matter. So no goddamn complaining. And if you think true crime and comedy never belong together, we're probably not going to get along very well. And there's no reason for you to be here. Have a good one. But if you want to hang out and have a good time and, not be a complete asshole, just have some fun, well, then goddamn it, stick around. And from wherever you are in your cubicle, in your car, on your Stairmaster, whatever the hell you're doing, shout out, shut up and give me murder. And let's do this, Jimmy. Let's go on a trip, shall we?
I would love to.
Let's do this. We were in Mississippi a couple weeks ago.
Our
last show. It seemed like a long time ago being in Mississippi. This time we're going all the way to Kansas.
Terrific.
We have not been in Kansas in a while since I believe that man shot his whole family on Thanksgiving night or around then.
Town? I
don't know. His name was Kaler, though. I remember James Kaler, maybe. Possibly. I don't know how the fuck I remembered that, but it was in Kansas there. So this time we're going to Oskaloosa, Kansas, which I'm sure they're going to pronounce it Oskaloosa or Uskalasa or some shit that's different than the way I fucking said it.
Don't care.
That's the way it looks. I'm sorry. It's Oskaloosa, Kansas. It's in northeastern Kansas, all the way up in the corner there. All the way. It's a rectangular state full of rectangular and square counties. Not much panhandle to be found except in the behavior, which is abundant. It's just abundantly full of panhandle behavior.
There's a shitload of counties there, huh?
Oh, there's a lot of tiny little rectangle counties and square counties, and they're all crammed in. Doesn't seem like a lot of disputes. They just drew it out. Someone got a ruler and said, fuck it, there's all the counties. This is what you get. Yeah, there's no oh no, but the river over here is ours. Okay, you can have the... Nope.
It might run right through somebody's fucking house.
Doesn't
they don't
matter.
care.
Tough shit.
Yeah.
Tough shit. Now, you live in Kansas. That's the least of your concerns. Enjoy. It's 35 minutes to Topeka, Kansas.
Okay.
To Topeka. To
Capital?
Topeka is the capital of Kansas, as a matter of fact. 35 minutes to the capital, 3.5 hours to Kansas City. Either one. It's pretty much the same thing there. It's about an hour to Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah.
So any direction here, you can get to a boring place. Yeah. So good luck, everybody, on there. If you're in Oskaloosa, Kansas, it's in Jefferson County. I assume named after Thomas Jefferson, like half the shit in America is. Zip code 66066. So it's a lot of sixes in this place, man.
That's dangerous.
That is some dangerous shit. It's just in the middle. That's what it's telling you here. Area code 785. It's 1 square mile. This town. So it's a very small town, Native American influenced, which you can tell by their motto, actually. Their motto is, quote, Oskaloosa, Injun for boring, which is very surprising. That's not their motto, I would hope not.
Injun, Jesus.
Well, they're very, it's a commentary on the town. Thank you. That wasn't from, never mind. Forget it, damn it.
That wasn't you creating.
That wasn't me creating. That is the town of Oskaloosa is for some reason. I don't understand that. So,
Oskaloosa, Injun for milk toast.
For milk toast. History of this town. Oskaloosa is one of the oldest towns in the county, which doesn't really mean a whole lot because who gives a shit. It was settled by Dr. James Noble in February of 1855. Very, very exciting here. More settlers came from Iowa that same year, which that's where you want to take everyone from. They found the location a good place to do some business there. They set up their own businesses, and they kind of, I don't know, it was kind of trying to...
Booming metropolis.
I wouldn't call it that. It had a couple of businesses.
Fucking Wall Street.
A few dudes with businesses. They thought it would be several years before they get a church, but right away in the 1850s, a Baptist minister starts holding religious services all over the town in people's houses. And anytime 3 houses spring up, there's going to be some dude with a Bible showing up, ringing on your goddamn doorbell.
Collection plate.
Can I talk to you? Do you have a few bucks?
Right.
It was founded officially, Oskaloosa, in 1856. It's named after the city of Oskaloosa, Iowa.
What the shit? It's right around the corner.
They came from there and just said, we'll just name it the same shit. The problem is I found some interesting things here about the actual origin of this name in Iowa. It is just completely wrong. It's built on a fallacy here. Apparently, Oskaloosa derives its name from Oskaloosa, who they said, according to town lore, was a Creek princess who married Seminole chief Osaloa. The local tradition was that her name meant last of the beautiful, but that is wrong. The interpretation of last of the beautiful isn't correct, and it actually means black rain, Oskaloosa.
Oh, Jesus.
So that is actually not good.
That's a much darker name now.
That sounds terrible. That's
last of the beautiful or fucking black rain.
Or you've polluted this shit so much that rain isn't even coming down in water form anymore. It's some sort of soot is in it involved.
That is amazing.
It's super fucking weird here. But they named it Oskaloosa, and the next year, people started. The original guy, his farm got bought out by a couple other people. A few more people started buying land, and they laid out 40 acres of land as kind of the town, which was they set it up pretty much exactly like Oskaloosa, Iowa. Okay. They laid it out the same way because why leave?
Why not?
It's like, well, it's all full here.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Someone's already got a goddamn, every shoe cobbling, there's a goddamn every goddamn business. I could either burn all them businesses to the ground, kill everybody in town, or just start a new Oskaloosa and pretend. What the fuck, man?
It's a hell of an option.
I guess so, man. Joseph Fitzsimmons opened the first store. Another guy built a sawmill. The first post office is established in 1856. Things are going well, but there's also a bunch of violence on the Kansas-Missouri border. There's the Kansas-Missouri border war. There was 2 skirmishes that took place near Oskaloosa in September of 1856, right before the post office opened, including the Battle of Slaw Creek. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Slough?
Yeah, I don't know how it's pronounced.
Slough.
I guess. I don't know the geographic.
Which is also the same name for like when your skin falls off when you're burned. That's disgusting.
It's the Black Rain goes into the Soft Creek. Jesus Christ. And the Battle of Hickory Point 2 days later. They built a school in the spring of 1857. Okay. That wasn't bad. They had a church and a post office before school, so that tells you a lot right there. They
are steeped in some filthy hillbilly.
Oh, yeah. That's anywhere kind of where it's a strange thing.
Extra,
the middle of the country was. Anytime we do Oklahoma, Nebraska, it's always like, well, fucking, people killed each other, bathed in the blood, and then settled down.
Super depressing.
It's always very, very weird here. They had lumber around here apparently here. Joseph Fitzsimmons, the guy we talked about before, his wife became the teacher of the town. So it's a small town with a bunch of shit here. 1860, before the Civil War.
Small town with a bunch of shit.
I don't fucking know. Jesus Christ.
I know. It's late and it's funny.
It's late. It's funny. It's Kansas in the middle of the 1800s. I mean, Jesus Christ. What are we talking about?
A bunch of shit.
Small town.
How many times has that been said on a freeway with like a bunch of kids in a car? What is this? It's a fucking small town with a bunch of shit.
Kids in a car, just me.
No, I mean,
your
like
kids
on a family vacation or something.
Don't worry about that town. It's a small town with a bunch of shit in it. 7 gas stations, a terrible motel, and a Dairy Queen. Have a good one.
There's certainly a fucking church.
Jesus Christ, man. So they had a big drought in 1860, which that's right before the Civil War, too. So
perfect.
1860s lining up to be a bad time here in Kansas. They had a newspaper at that point called The Independent. A grist mill was elected. It was elected governor, a grist mill. They just said that grist mill is going to do a good job, we think.
What the fuck is a grist mill?
I think something to do with wheat, if I'm not sure, or corn. Okay. I think it's something to do with breaking shit down and storing it.
The harvest thing.
It's something to do with, we went over it once before, and I'm not positive. Okay. I don't remember. There's been a lot of grist between now and then.
But they're real thrilled about it.
I got a bunch of grist in my brain at the moment. I can't remember. So it's going to be a problem here. Jesus. By the end of 1860, the population was about 400 people. The problem was, this is crazy, okay? In 1860, because there was a drought, there was crop failure, so the people needed ways to figure out. They had nothing to do. It was 1860. You got up, you worked, you came inside, and you ate, and then you went to sleep and hoped none of your kids died.
Right.
That was all you did back then.
And you washed in a pail.
There wasn't a lot to do. So if there was no work, you were really fucked. You had nothing to do. So they had a guy named Samuel Papard invented something to keep past the time. He invented a, quote, sailing wagon, which is sort of like a like a
land boat.
It's kind of like a land boat. It's a platform with wheels and a big sail, and it's like it's very stupid. But back then, we're talking like bicycles. I don't even think they came out yet in this time period. They might have been brand new at this time. So it's that sort of thing here. It weighed 350 pounds, this fucking contraption.
The wind is going to blow that fucking thing around?
Well, its sail was 9 by 11 feet.
It's
a fucking sail the size of the wall of a house. It's insane. Yeah, it's huge. The steering apparatus was attached to the front of it and moved along with the wind. Sometimes it would go 15 miles an hour up to there. People would take it out and
300 pounds of wood being pushed around at 15 miles an hour. Somebody got killed by one of those.
Jesus Christ.
They did. You can't stop that thing on a dime.
Well, let's find out here. A party consisting of Papard, a guy named Steve Randall, J.T. Forbes, and some other guy here. They started to Pikes Peak in the vehicle. They had about 400 pounds of provisions and ammunition at this time. They made a trip to within 100 miles of Denver safely, but were then struck by a whirlwind, and it completely demolished the vehicle and injured all of the occupants. They'd been on the road for 4 weeks in this thing, but it only traveled for 9 days.
Holy shit.
So they tried to go all the way to Denver, and then it just tipped over and destroyed everybody because, there's a giant sail.
Yeah, Pikes Peak is in Colorado Springs, so they were headed south of there. They got to Denver and fucking crashed.
Yeah, that's it.
In that big contraption. I'm
surprised nobody was killed. It's amazing, especially with no medical care.
How did they throw themselves free of that thing?
I think somebody would have gotten an infection in their head or some shit. Right. Now, also, there was... in the head. Great out in the
head.
66 times.
6 times.
6
wow.
times. Wow, that must have been
60, what?
Whoa, that must have hurt. Now, another thing they did was they organized the quote, now this is a loosely lit term. The quote, most prominent men organized at this time themselves into what they called a lazy club, capital L, capital C. That was the name of it. The club had rigid rules, and if any member was seen to have any implement of labor, his case was promptly investigated, and if he was proven guilty of having performed any work, he'd be expelled. This is awesome.
Yeah.
The badge of distinction was a Barlow knife. I don't know what that is, which was awarded to the champion lazy man.
Yeah.
This is fucking awesome.
It's now called alimony.
Yeah, they had that and a giant sail thing. That was their
lazy club.
That was amazing. During they had the Civil War, obviously, which was a problem here for everything. The population didn't really increase very much over these years here. Now in 1888. Oskaloosa citizens elected Mary D. Lohman the mayor with a city council composed entirely of women. In 1888.
Impressive.
Making this is the first city in the state to elect an all-women city administration in 1880.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's not crazy,
Kansas
but it's
did
different. Yeah, in Kansas. Those church ladies, though, took some shit over. Yeah. That's why there was prohibition.
That's right.
They used to go into the streets and bash bars up. And what are they going to do? Fucking kick ladies in the face and knock them out? The church, let's beat the shit out of the church ladies. Like, they just watch as they fucking tore their place up. It was crazy, man. So, they had a high school and churches and all sorts of denominations and everything else here. Local farmers produced grain. They had a canning factory, an electric light plant. They made some electric lights, a bridle bit factory.
Okay.
For horse shit, yeah. The population in 1910 was 851.
Okay.
So, it was bumping right along here. They have a 1950s pharmacy there, Parker Pharmacy, that still has a real an old time soda fountain that's been in operation since the 50s.
You can still get some cheer up, bitch.
You can get a little bit of cheer up, bitch, when you head on in there. Here's your soda, cheer up, bitch, and the guy tips his cap to you. You're like, Jesus, that was not called for. Then he calls you an Injun. You're like, this is fucking weird. This town's weird. The only people from this town, one guy named Dummy Taylor, which is his name is Dummy Taylor. He's 1910, he was a deaf Major League Baseball pitcher.
Oh, Jesus.
Which I've never fucking heard. First of all, I've never heard of a deaf Major League Baseball player. I don't know why. I'm not saying it's not possible, just I've never heard of one before.
Seems like probably the only sport where that's possible.
Denver Broncos had a deaf linebacker in the 90s. You remember that guy?
No, I do not.
I can't remember his name. Number 50-something. He's a linebacker.
How do I not know that?
He was deaf as shit. He was deaf as fuck. Couldn't hear a thing. He just looked.
Sometimes
he just watched the ball.
Yeah, I mean, it makes. I mean, that's
he could
a sport
see everything.
That I guess you could do it.
It's tough because you don't hear somebody footstep, whatever.
Forget
but
it.
as a defensive player, that's the only way you could do it.
Yeah.
Really, I guess.
Or a kicker.
Yeah, or a kicker. A kicker would be great because you wouldn't hear shit. You wouldn't. Nobody would bother you. The crowd would. You'd be focused.
Yeah.
Might be better to be a deaf kicker.
It might be better to be just deaf on all fronts.
You know what? I could use. If someone's deaf, they're not listening. So never mind. Fuck it. Sorry.
But as a pitcher, that's probably the easiest way to...
because you could focus.
Yeah, you're just looking at
right
signs anyway.
Yeah, you see if the ball hits the bat. It's not like it's the crack you need to hear it. Now, also somebody there, James Reynolds, who was an actor on Days of Our Lives for over 30 years and is like their top celebrity of all time.
Boy.
So that guy. It's a long time to be on a soap opera. People in this town, 1,086. Hasn't risen much since 1910. Up 1% since 1990. So it's hanging tough.
Up 10% in over 115 years.
Super weird.
Jesus.
Median age is 38.8, which is about a year older. Yeah. Male population's 52%. So this is out of whack here. The more male than female. The 45 to 54 age group is high, and the 10 to 14-year-old age group is high. high. So people came there and had kids when they were 35, and they still live there with them and their children.
Or they were raised there and they just waited a long-ass time to be able to afford kids.
No, they didn't wait. It just happens, Jimmy. Here we go. Married population's a little bit higher than normal, but not much. It's just a couple percentage. Nothing huge when it comes to that. Single with children is a little bit higher than normal. Single with no children is lower than normal. So it's not the most swinging place to go, especially try to find somebody, especially if you're a dude, because there's more dudes.
Right.
So watch out for that. Unless you're a gay dude, then go crazy. Go crazy.
Fuck them all.
Fuck them all, man. Hey, everybody. Gay, chicks, guys, whatever you can find. Knock yourself out. Now, race of this town, it's about 89% white, which is, that's about small town America, 90% white. That's just what it is. 2.3% black, 0.0% Asian.
Nothing.
Zero
not
Asians.
One.
Not one. That's amazing to me. That's
1,000.
Out of 1,000 people, not an Asian to be found among them. 4.18% Hispanic, so not a lot there. It's usually almost 17%. Religion, I'd expect this to be a religious kind of a place, but 39.8% religious. Kansas is weird too. Kansas will go some weird directions. They'll change their politics on a dime, like they'll flip on a dime. They're an odd place, Kansas, in a kind of a strange way.
Guns.
People have wrote books about how weird the people go, like how Kansas will do things strangely in politics. It's really weird. Yeah, I don't know if it's stubbornness or
plains living.
They're just, I don't know. They got their own opinions down there. The religion in this town, it's mostly Methodist, 13% Methodist, 0.0% Mormon. They haven't infiltrated this area yet, as you might be able to tell.
They're going to get close.
They're going to get there soon, because it's right coming. There. It's coming from Colorado. 0.0% Jewish. They're like, nah. I don't think so. Not this town, guys. Sorry. 0.0% Muslim. In voting, politics, 30% Democrat, 62% Republican, over 7% voted independent. That's a lot. That is, it's normally 2% when we do these.
That's a whole lot.
1 to 2% is independent. 7.3% voting independent in the last election is by far the most we've ever had. So this is definitely kind of a different kind of a place. It's definitely different.
They're not sure. That's what it is.
They're not sure, and they're open to suggestion, or that could be good. I mean, I don't know. That could be a good thing if you're open to hearing all sides of something. That's not a bad thing at all. So let's hope you don't make the wrong choice. That's all. It could go either way. It could go either way, I guess, for them.
Not towing the party line and sticking with it.
No, I'm fine with these people. Yeah, have some independent spirit. That's great. Knock yourselves out. Just don't fuck up and be nice to black people, please. The 2% that you have, don't fuck with them. Thank you.
And all you gays get to fucking.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we're all for that. So unemployment rate is lower than normal.
We're giving some real weird advice.
We're getting strange advice. This is what you get when we've been on the road constantly and flying and not sleeping. You're going to get strange life advice
but
from
it's
us.
Good.
It's good. It's going to be solid advice. We're not fucking lying to you. And this is all solid shit. So unemployment rate's low. It's about 4% in this town. Median household income is pretty close to normal, actually. It's the average in the country is almost $54,000. Here it's an even $51,000. Okay. So that's not too bad for a small town. For a lot of our small towns, it's not that terrific. There's the jobs too seem very like there's a little more healthcare jobs than normal and things like that, but it's not. They're pretty much in line with average America. Overall cost of living, 100 being regular average, par. Here it is 86. And the main thing that's driving it down is housing, which is a 58. Housing and median home cost here, $109,000. So it's an affordable place with jobs aplenty. And so I don't know, that seems decent. There's some of the houses, though, I guess there's some older ones. There is over 50% of the houses are worth under $100,000 here.
Ooh, that's a lot.
So, yeah, I think we got some older houses, and if that sounds good to you, if we've convinced you that you need to be in northeastern Kansas, we have for you the Oskaloosa, Kansas Real Estate Report. Your average 2-bedroom rental goes for about $840 a month, which is low, about $400 lower than the normal. I found a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,216 square foot home here. It's in good shape. It looks nice. It's I don't know if whatever your tastes are for decorating, but it looks like a solid, decent house here. $115,900. Not bad for that kind of place. I found a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 1,656 square foot.
Very nice.
Little bit more. Yeah. This is nice too. It's a nice house. It really is just like a nice house, and all these houses have some land around them too. You're not on some little tiny lot. This is $164,900. And then I found something you want to stretch out. You've done very well for yourself around whatever the dirt farming you're doing around here is, and I found a 4-bedroom, 3.5-bath, 4,400 square foot house.
That's a lot of house
on 15 acres.
Oh shit!
That's a lot of a lot of land. Fishing pond, horse stables, the whole deal. This is an estate for $588,000.
That's a deal.
That's a huge amount of land and shit. So
for a retirement though, if you just want to get away from everybody,
that's
terrific.
You could do that, or you could live in a closet on the East Coast. Take your pick. So enjoy. I found a resident review of the joint, which I always like here. Now this one I couldn't find anything negative. I found a positive resident review, so I got the most positive one here I could find, since they were all positive. This is, quote, "I have lived in Oskaloosa, Kansas my entire life, and I could not think of a better small town to live in. There's just enough people to communicate with, and less than enough not to feel claustrophobic. The people in Oskaloosa are friendly and extremely united. 5 stars. They're all white and very united. That worries me. But besides that, we're fine.
Also, my house is for sale. If you want to come out
also,
and take a look
check on that.
I might be moving out of here.
15 acres. Things to do here. The Oskaloosa Old Settlers Festival is what they have. And that is, quote, 150 years of Kansas to the stars through difficulties is what the name of it.
Fuckload of Kansas.
Through difficulties. Like, they're not even like, it's been tough. We know. They're not fucking shitting you. It's been rough, and we all know it, okay? This is fucking Kansas. Let's be honest here. But we're going to pull it together.
Yeah.
We're united, as that guy said in the review. We're very united. And let's do it. And we're keeping the Asians out on 3. 1, 2, 3. No Asians. Okay. 0.0. Break. That's what it seems like is happening here.
Rock, chalk, Jayhawk, break.
I've never seen a place with no Asian people. It almost seems like that has to be on purpose. It just kind of has to be.
Anytime there's 0 of any of the biggest nationalities, the big four.
The most common 4, we'll say. Yeah. Then
when one of those 4 isn't there,
like, huh?
really feels
on purpose. Yeah. It does not feel accidental.
No.
But who knows? This festival will feature a variety of activities to pay homage to Kansas's history. Yeah. So they have that. Living history performers from the 3rd Kansas Light Artillery Battery will take participants on a trip through the Civil War era with discussions and demonstrations, including a live cannon firing. Holy shit. A Kansas-themed parade will begin at 6 p.m. No fucking idea what that means.
Dorothy's in there.
Everything in here has Dorothy in there somewhere. There'll also be a carnival, a quote, pork burger tent.
What?
So get your pork burgers now. A wine garden and music throughout the weekend.
Pork burger, that's just a sausage McMuffin.
It's just, they just put pork into a patty form and then gave it to you.
That's a sausage.
Pork, but no regular. They say nothing of regular burgers, hot dogs, anything. Just pork burgers. That's all they got. I don't know. Crime rate in this town, what we're interested in, property crime is low. It's about 20% under the average. Pretty safe town when it comes to that. Violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, just below average here. So overall, it's coming in ahead of the game on crime. Yeah. Except for what we're going to talk about here. Yeah. And this is, guys, I got to tell you, everybody out there, Jimmy, Whisman, it hurt so much that the computer died last week because this fucking story was one of those where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to tell Jimmy this story because it's crazy as shit and I'm going to watch his head explode. And then we couldn't do it. Remember how many times did I go, it's just such a good story. Why is this happening now? So I'm very excited to talk about this.
All I've got is a recycle bin, and it tells me it doesn't do anything.
It went to black. It just went to a black screen and said it didn't recognize the recycle bin and had no operating system, and it's a giant paperweight, and it's a fucking mess. And we'll talk about that at the very end of the show. Just a quick, we'll talk about the details of that and a couple of funny little live show things that we have to talk about. Anecdotes, thank you, and maybe a bitch and a moan about a couple of things too, but we'll get it on. We'll see at the end of the show here. Let's go back in time, Jimmy.
Okay.
Let's go back 19 years to 1999.
Okay.
Shall we? Wonderful time, 1999.
I was graduating high school.
Prince was fucking was going. See, I told you.
Prince was like, "Now I'm gonna cash in."
No, it's I knew it. See, he was the smart one.
That's what we're thinking.
He said someone when that happens is going to have the song, but why
What's the song
wait?
gonna be?
Why wait? Why
I'm
wait
gonna
till
write
then?
this shit in like the 80s.
I'll
When
write
did
it
he
in
write
1984, 1980. I don't know when he wrote it because Prince wrote catalogs of shit, and who knows what order he recorded
still got
it.
Tons in a vault.
That's what I mean. He's very prolific.
Yeah.
So who knows when he wrote it? But the 80s, the mid 80s, he was like, when it comes around, any song you write that's 1999, you're just biting my shit now, and it's all going to come back to me. Brilliant. God, I'm going to buy more purple shit and dress women up in weird costumes. Let's do it.
I'm going to buy all the scarves. Me and Johnny Depp. We're going to be the one. Me, Johnny Depp.
They dress very similarly,
Yeah,
Johnny Depp and Prince.
Yeah.
Well, Prince doesn't dress like anything anymore, but Johnny Depp. And
he's dressed right now.
I'm sure he is. Well, whatever's left of him is dressed up in something. I'm sure it's extravagant.
I'm sure
that.
it is.
Sure,
and I'm positive it's purple.
Oh, you know it is. And it's got ruffles somewhere. And
so many.
Dressed like a pirate with its
a purple pirate.
That's what it is. It's like a purple
tiny
pirate.
Purple pirate.
Yeah, here we go. No,
so little.
The legend of the tiny purple pirate. So let's go back to 19.
But boy, could he shred.
He's a bad motherfucker
What a
and everything.
guitarist.
He could sing, he could kick ass, he could play guitar, he writes. He was a badass.
The original Mr. Steal Your Girl. That man was what a fucking player
and
he
he's
was.
5'3", which makes it way more impressive.
So tiny.
Way more impressive. November 5th, 1999.
Yeah.
There's a man named William Noble. He is a colonel in the United States Army and a professor of military science. Probably a smart guy, I assume. Stationed at Fort Leavenworth in this area here in around Oskaloosa, Kansas.
Fort Leavenworth is close by there.
It's near there because Leavenworth is in Kansas, but it's he's off in this area and he's bow hunting on a Friday afternoon on November 5th, 1999. Just doing his thing out in the woods, being an Army dude out in the woods with a bow. And I bet he's good at it.
Yeah,
I bet this guy's fucking. Something tells me he's good. If he's a professor of military science, something tells me he really has studied how to take deer down with a fucking stealth weapon.
He knows exactly where to put that thing.
How much camouflage does he have on his face?
Oh, Jesus.
He's got leaves hanging from his hat.
He's stuck in a tree
He's
somewhere.
Hanging out of it, I'm sure, upside down, getting ready to go. So the area he is hunting is near the Zool Dairy Farm. Zool, Z-U-L-E.
Yeah.
Zool, like, I guess, in Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Zool. I don't know if it's the same
That's the
Zool.
only Zool I know.
Either way, he's got a dairy farm now.
Okay.
He's decided to stop terrorizing Sigourney Weaver.
In New York City.
And just take a step back. Well, that rent in New York just was too much. Sigourney Weaver kicked him out of the fridge, and he's like, well, I can't afford anything. I can get a real nice place for $588,000 in Oskaloosa.
Yeah.
I'm on this shit.
I gotta bury myself up a big giant marshmallow's ass, and you guys just blew that thing
man.
all over the
blew
town.
it all over. Why am I here? No one's talking anything about Oskaloosa. I get a free reign in that town. As a matter of fact, I'll name it New York City now. Fuck it, I'll make my own town.
Rick Moranis is about to quit acting.
Nah, he's done. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more from our friends at Simply Safe.
SIMPLISafe.com/small.
Right? That's right. If you've been thinking about getting a Simply Safe home security system, but have been waiting for the holidays when all the good tech deals come out, you've made a smart move, because right now we can get you a great deal on Simply Safe. If you just go to simplysafe.com/small, you get 25% off any new system. That's an amazing deal. They rarely do anything like this, but they're doing it just for the podcast listeners, so take advantage of this. Simply Safe is great protection for your home and family. They don't make you sign a contract. There's no hidden fees, nothing silly like that. They're getting great reviews. CNET, PC Mag, and Wirecutter all say Simply Safe is the best security system there is, hands down. So if you're looking for a security system and want a great deal, do it now. Go to simplysafe.com/small to save 25%. Make sure you go there. That's Simply Safe, SIMPLI safe.com/small right now for 25% off. And hurry, this deal ends November 26th.
SIMPLI safe.com/small. Go get your security system. And now back to the show.
So this colonel, he used a large map of the area he knew where he was going, and he knew the whole thing. And later on, he'll be able to identify where he was in this area. Also, it is around 5:30 p.m. While he's out creeping through the forest or hanging from a tree or wherever the fuck you want to talk about it. He hears a woman scream. He hears a woman scream while he's in the woods bow hunting, and he hears the words, quote, "Please don't hurt me," which is not what you want to hear from a woman screaming. A few minutes later, a few minutes go by because he stopped and listened, and you're in the woods, you don't know which direction that shit comes from. It's echoing around.
Did I even hear what I think I just heard?
That's the other thing too. If you're by yourself, you go, "Did I imagine that?" After 5 minutes, you go, "Did I fucking imagine that? Did that just happen right now?" If it's only one sentence too, you're like, "Did I miss?" You have no idea.
Part you probably go is, boy, I wish I was gun hunting right now.
Yeah, that'd be good. Well, this guy's probably you don't want to fuck with him with a bow, probably.
But even if you're fucking Robin Hood, it takes a minute to reload. You know what I mean?
These guys are.
You got to pull one out your quiver.
True.
And you oftentimes can't reach it, and then you spin and keep walking.
He's got leaves hanging down. You're not even going to see him. Just silent death. All you're going to hear is. And then you're going to fucking drop, I feel like. You're not even going to know it's coming. He's a colonel and a professor of military science.
Good point.
He's a bad bow hunting motherfucker, I feel like. So 5:30 p.m. he hears that, and then nothing happens for like 3-4 minutes. So like I said, by then he's probably like, well, all right. And he just shrugs his shoulder. Well, I don't know. Maybe there was... Who the fuck knows? Then he hears
was a deer talking to me,
and that's the thing. He doesn't know what it was too. He then he hears a few minutes later, quote, "Please don't hurt me. Somebody help. Please don't hurt me." Okay. That's very much more specific. Yeah. That's not just very please don't hurt me, huh? Somebody help, and then repeats it. That's something. He says, Noble says, quote, "At first I thought it could have possibly been somebody who was, outside playing or something like that. But then there was this peculiar sound when you hear a girl or woman scream that was just not of the ordinary of a normal little fight or a tiff between individuals."
She's screaming for her life.
Yeah, he says, quote, there was something distinct about that. And I waited a few minutes, and as I was sitting in the deer stand, we knew he was in a tree. And I thought, that was awfully peculiar, and the inversion factor in that valley at the time, and the atmospheric conditions in that little creek bed there were pristine. So the next time I heard the scream, which was a minute or two later, it was very clear to me that there was somebody who was clearly in distress. This guy's a smart motherfucker. Yeah. The words came out again, quote, "Please don't hurt me. Somebody help. Please don't hurt me," and continued like that. At that time, it was very clear in my mind that somebody was in need of some help. So I got out of my deer stand, very quickly got out of my deer stand, and I went directly to the northwest to where I believed that the screams were coming from, because they were clearly to my back. I started running toward where I thought I heard a scream coming from. So we're not dealing with a moron who's out there scratching his ass going, "I think somebody said don't, maybe, I don't fucking know. I was drunk on Pabst Blue Ribbon and I was just walking around and I heard something, but it could have been my fart." It wasn't that guy. This guy's talking about atmospheric conditions and the inversion factor in the valley at the time.
Or a guy that's like, I
don't know what that is. We'll put it that way.
Shitting, I knew I was hungry. I was leaned against this tree. There was some mushrooms growing, so I took a nibble.
I ate them.
I'm standing up there in that deer stand, and I just started imagining deers telling me, "Don't hurt me, don't hurt me," and now I'm vegan.
I may or may not have heard something. We'll just say that, and I ain't want to eat no venison. So after the second scream, though, he said he didn't hear anything else. He didn't hear any any noise, anything. He didn't hear banging, clanging, smashing,
no gunshots,
nothing of that nature. Now, Richard Zool, who shockingly enough is the owner of the dairy farm, not just coincidentally also named Zool. Right. Dickie Zool's decided to take it easy nowadays and take a step back. He's the owner of the dairy farm. He testifies later on. He'll say that he was working outside at that time, but he heard nothing at all. And this is all kind of the tree stands in the woods, and then right beyond the woods is the dairy farm. So if this guy said Noble said the scream came from behind him, it might not have reached the dairy farm, or he might have been mistaken about where the scream was coming from, even though he's talking about inversion factors and atmospheric conditions, creek bed conditions, which is fucking insane.
He is really into this hunting shit.
This guy, dude, he catches shit. He comes home with me. He doesn't come home going, I can catch nothing out there. Right. He fucking catches families of deer. He's got to set up like a rig to carry them all back because he's too heavy for them.
He throws them on the table by the legs, by the hooves.
Yeah, he's got them like fish, like all strung up, and he just drags them behind his four-wheeler or some shit. So at this point, we got to talk about Zeta, Zetta, Zetta Camille Arfman. Okay, she is 14 years old. And everybody calls her Camille. She's 14 years old on November 5th, 1999. She lives with her older sister Heidi, and her husband Heidi, not Camille's husband at 14. Thankfully,
it's not that candid.
This is not. Yeah, we're not going. This is not a Rouleau Phillips situation here. Let's get that straight. She lives with her older sister Heidi and her sister Heidi's husband, Fred Bledsoe Jr. I did say that. Yes, Jr. Fred Bledsoe Jr. Okay. Her mother lives in the next town. Heidi and Camille's mother lives in the next town, which it's weird why she doesn't live with her mother. It's a weird thing, but
is there any reason why?
There's some issues here. We'll get to it here now. Camille on November 5th, it's a Friday, rode the bus home from school. She's dropped off at home at the trailer. They live in a trailer, the Bledsoes, and they also too Fred Jr. and Heidi have two little boys of their own. So there's this is a full house for a trailer. And she lives there also at 14. She gets dropped off about 4:20 p.m. Now, a friend of Camille's stopped by around 5 p.m., but Camille wasn't there. The friend looked into the trailer, opened the door and looked around. She said she saw Camille's coat and school bag in the living room, but Camille wasn't there. So that's an odd thing. The coat's there, but she's not there. But who knows? Maybe she has a different coat.
She should be doing homework by now.
Who the hell knows? Yeah, whatever. But it's Friday, too. So whatever. So the friend leaves. Now, November 6th, 1999, the next day, at 12:50 p.m., Camille still hasn't. Nobody can find Camille.
She's nowhere to be found.
She's gone, and she's reported missing. And she's known as she's not the type of girl. Everyone says she's not the type that runs away. She's not out with boys. She doesn't do drugs. She doesn't do shit like that. She's a studious. They call her a very studious church-going girl. She regularly attends services at the Countryside Baptist Church. She is. They said that all of her books and papers in her locker, most of them are dedicated to Bible studies. Jesus. She's not the type who's just going to take off on a Friday out of nowhere. So everybody kind of freaked out, obviously, when she took off. Now, the reason why it didn't get reported till 12:50 the next day in the afternoon was because her sister Heidi thought she probably went to visit her mom. She said her mom's in the next town over, and I guess it's very frequent where her mom will pick her up and do something, and who knows? It's not like this is the thing. It's her older sister. So she takes care of her, but it's not like it's her kid. So she probably has a little bit more level of
a little more leeway of freedom to come and go.
Not to mention she has Heidi has a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old of her own. So she's
shit to do.
She's got shit to do, man. She's trying to keep 2 kids in a trailer from
that is such a hard life to it.
It's a hard life
to have them that close together. Because you have 2 of them in diapers.
2 of them at that little age running around making sure they don't hit their head on shit in one visit, in one thing, and then you got to worry about which this one's going out and doing. And this one, Camille wasn't a real concern. They said she was very easygoing. She didn't cause teenage problems, and she didn't.
She's into church, James.
She's super into church. So this introduces. We'll talk about Floyd for a minute here. Floyd Bledsoe Bledsoe Jr. is Heidi's husband, and this girl's, I guess it would be her brother-in-law, the missing girl. And he's also got a brother named Tom Bledsoe. Fred Bledsoe's 25 years old. Tom Bledsoe's 23 years old.
Jesus.
So,
like a Patriots fucking hybrid.
It's absolutely, yeah. So they were, I guess, there's a newspaper article I found from the time where Heidi and Floyd Jr. were helping the authorities in the search. They said they were searching for just days at a time here. The only one who was not present was Thomas Bledsoe, the brother, which they said was a weird thing. They described him as a 1993 graduate of Oskaloosa High School. He lived with his parents at this point in time. He knew Camille. He even attended church with her. So he knew her. So right away, that was a red flag. They were like, okay, he knows this girl. He's the only one not showing up in this family here. The police, the head guy investigating this said, quote, let's put it this way, he would have known her schedule. So right away, they're throwing this guy out there as like, that's pretty, they're throwing some shade here for the fucking newspaper. By identifying him by name and all that. They began to consider him a suspect at about 10:30 on Sunday night. I guess he showed up a little while later at the police station with his parents and his attorney. So to talk. I guess that's what ended up happening here. Now, he ends up, we'll talk about him in a second. They end up finding, Floyd ends up talking. Basically, they get a tip. Let's put it this way. They get a tip. We'll talk about where that tip came from in a sec. But they get a tip that leads them to Camille, and they find her dead in that same woods where the guy was hunting, near the dairy farm, in that area. Okay. Now this whole area is owned by the Bledsoe's parents, so they all live technically on this property in a way. They all have trailers. It's one of those things where it's a big property. Everybody, as we heard from the real estate report, a lot of acreage. And if you have some acreage and some kids who don't make a great living, they plop trailers all over your property, and then you have a compound, I guess, at that point.
Shanty farm.
Exactly. Now they find her, and we'll talk about that. The police officer said without the tip leading to the body, we would have probably never found her. So at that point, Tom is arrested. Okay. Tom Bledsoe's arrested for the disappearance, the 23-year-old, Floyd's brother. Now, Floyd talks to reporters on the day his brother's arrested, and he complains that he says they, quote, always just jump in after the kill has been made, which is a weird.
You would hope so. You hope they don't do it before.
That's such a weird way to put it. They just put, like, they always just jump in and arrest people right away. It's like, that's why there's the first 48. That's when they find shit out. So, Floyd at this point said that he had been awake for 70 hours. Floyd had looking in the search for the girl. He said he'd been awake with his sister and they hadn't slept in 70 hours. They said everything like that. Now, Tom lived with his parents. Tom Bledsoe did, like we said. 2 days after, like we said, he turns himself in, her body ends up being found. Jesus Christ. Tom says he knows where the body is what ends up happening. He, through his attorney, tells the investigators where the body is. Okay. But we'll talk about it in a second. This is twisted shit. Okay. Now, poor Camille is found under a pile of dirt with several sheets of plywood and some clothing on top of the body, which seems to be a very common burial attempt that we find. The plywood on top, and it's just like, well, I can't fill in all that shit back again. I'll just put plywood on top. No one will notice.
Got to make it look flat.
They'll think it's a floor now. Right. They'll think outside has a floor and no one will notice.
There is a dance floor out here.
They put hardwood out here. This is nice. This is nice.
They put some hard plywood.
I'm going to do that in my yard too. This ain't bad.
Damn good idea. Easier than pavers.
Way easier. She had been shot once in the back of the head and 3 times in the chest.
Oh God.
3 times. They said that The autopsy reveals that the shot fired to the back of the head was a contact wound and was not fired in the location she was found.
Oh.
And it was right against the back of the head. I mean, right within a couple of inches. So, it's fucking, this whole thing is insane here. And we'll talk about, there's more to her body too that we'll talk about. There's a lot to unfold here. Well, this is a piece of origami, this story. That's just it's some weird shit. We're gonna make a swan in the end, and it's gonna be beautiful and it's going to be the black rain of beautiful swans. Right. So Thomas Bledsoe was one of the least likely people everybody said that was to be suspected. At first, they didn't even think for a second that Camille was abducted, ever. They never thought she was abducted. The police officer here said, quote, 90% of our missing kids are runaways. Because this is like it's fucking Kansas. These kids, they want to get the fuck out of here.
Sure.
They probably take off to go to the next town, or
Lots of rules.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Lots of rules and church, and it's just a small town. Kids snap and they want to go to the next. It's 1,000 people. Maybe they wanted to fucking find some weed. I mean, who knows? If I grew up in this town, I'd have been going to Topeka to score nickel bags, period.
For sure.
They would have thought I ran away. Sorry. I would have needed to.
I've only been gone for an hour.
I've been gone for an hour and a half. It's 35 minutes away. I sat in the woods and smoked a blunt. Leave me the fuck alone. Jesus Christ. So they say 90% of the missing kids are runaways. So they weren't real concerned, especially since the fact it was on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Like the next day they were like, oh, she probably stayed at one of her friends' houses. And you know how these kids are. She'll be fucking back, whatever.
Mom's close by.
Her mom's close by. Well, they figured it out as soon as they reported her missing. Once Heidi realized that she's not with you, well, she's not with me. She's not with you. Holy shit. Then let's call the cops. Now, Floyd, while talking to reporters, Floyd Jr. here, he choked up. He was crying. He said he thanked the officers for their efforts. He told a television reporter that Camille was more like a daughter to him than a sister-in-law, because he's 25 and she's 14. And, she's a teenager. She's a kid and whatever. They said that she had transferred to Oskaloosa High School from Nortonville, I guess. She had lived in Nortonville previously. They said she was a nice girl. She had hard times. This right here tells you that I don't think her home life was great. Number one, that she's living with her sister in her 20s. Right. And, also this quote is, quote, they remember her as a pretty girl who always worked to make the best of her circumstances. It's like, even though shit was hard for her, she always had a good spirit. Yeah. Like, that's tough when you hear that. The kid was probably going through some shit or something.
And a good kid.
And a good kid.
Daughter.
No, she's a good kid. The police officer said, quote, it's a real shame. Yeah. So, no shit. Now, they find the murder weapon, a 9mm semi-automatic pistol, found in Tom Bledsoe's bedroom.
That's not a good place for it to be, Tom.
Not a good place for Tom. It also belongs to Tom. It's Tom's gun.
Okay.
So Tom's gun in Tom's bedroom. He had purchased the gun 2 weeks before the murder, before Camille had been murdered. Yeah. He had purchased a 9mm. So this is straight his gun. They know when he fucking bought it. Not like he found it in the woods or anything. He normally always kept the gun behind the seat of his truck. That was just where it always was. That's his, Tom. You see,
for 2 weeks.
Well, he had another one before that. You see, Tom, he's got a pistol behind the seat of his truck. Okay. Period. That's all there is to it. Now, no fingerprints are found on the gun at all, which is strange for a gun that belongs to a man.
Especially when it's new. You've held that recently.
You've held it and you put it in your house, and it's weird that there'd be no fingerprints. Right. Now, they inspect the gun and the shell casings, and the Kansas Bureau of Investigation, the KBI, and we'll just call them that because Kansas Bureau of Investigation is pretty long. They conclude that bullets from those, from the ballistics match is what they conclude here. The KBI lab said they could not be certain that the bullet lodged in Camille's head was fired from Tom's gun because it was too mangled. A lot of times when they hit bone, that's when they blow apart, they dent, they smash, bone's fucking hard, and bullets aren't as hard as bone when it comes to it. So and especially if it bounces around a skull a little bit, you'll find thick spots of skulls, and that's what'll happen.
Around,
unless it comes out clean, you're probably not going to get a great one here. Shells matching those fired from Tom's gun were found in his bedroom also. So Murder weapon, his gun, in his room. He just bought it. No fingerprints, but bullets all matched. The same bullets they're the same bullets he fucking has in his room. They came out of the same batch, and ballistics matched to his gun. Okay. So not so great, right? Things are looking bad for Tom.
On Dateline, this shit's a slam dunk.
And he told them where the body was, and ultimately pretty much confessed to the thing by telling them where the body was and all that kind of shit. He didn't say now I heard. I was in town at the general store, and a man said, "You want to see a dead 14-year-old?" And I said, "Fuck yeah, I do." No.
Pray tell, sir, where would that body be?
Pray tell, where might a dead 14-year-old girl be stored and housed nowadays? But not so fast. Not so fast, Jimmy. This is a slam dunk. They're ready to close the door on Dateline, but we're not quite fucking ready yet to close that door.
Okay.
Not so fast. November 6th, 1999 now. This is 2 days later. This is all happening bang, bang, bang here. It's the day after the disappearance. This is something a guy saw that day. Dan Courtney, who's a neighbor of the Bledsoes, that whole Bledsoe clan, saw a truck around 8 or 9 a.m. that resembled Tom's truck coming out of the field where Camille was buried. And then Tom made a statement to police that implicating himself here. Right. Now, Tom says at this point, now this is where shit gets weird, okay? He at this point starts saying, well,
this is Tom's story.
This is Tom's story. Okay, let's just let Tom tell the story. I won't even tell you what he's saying. He says that around 3 p.m. on November 5th, the day of the disappearance, he picked up his paycheck at Farmland Industries in Lawrence, where he worked as a security guard. He said after that he went to a bait and tackle store to look at a rifle and some bows. Yeah. This guy's having just a redneck dream Friday.
Yeah.
Get his paycheck, head right on to the bait and tackle shop, and pull back some bows, baby.
And Farmland is that company that makes all the bacon and hog stuff. It's a hog farm.
Yeah. Well, he watches people who make that shit and makes sure nobody comes in and kills them, apparently.
It's like cheap stuff.
Cheap stuff. Oh, yeah. This is where Carl's Budding comes from, or Carl Buddings, or whatever that shit.
Carl Budding.
That shit meat in a bag with
thin.
3 slices of weird, transparent, opaque fucking meat. It's so weird. It's
the
not
turkey
meat.
Is just...
it's all just smashed, processed, particle
weird.
board meat. It's weird as fuck, man.
But it all tastes
the same.
It all has a weird. It's
the turkey tastes just like the roast beef.
Right.
So what does that tell you?
It's like they just pour a flavor on it and then just be like, "No, that shit's turkey."
And they make a shape, and that's it. Yeah, it's cat food put into shapes. Right. So that's cat food put into shapes. Come pick up some Carl's Buddy.
Roll it real thin.
So he goes to Rusty's Outdoor Equipment around 4 p.m. to buy some ammunition. Tom does. So, man, he's got a big weekend ahead of him here. Now, the store manager says that the receipt issued to Tom was generated at 4:30 p.m. Okay, so he was definitely at a store at 4:30 p.m. Okay. When Tom left Rusty's outdoor equipment place here, Tom uses his cell phone to call his father before he drives home, but his father wasn't home. So then we also have a call and a place where he's at, the ping of the thing and the whole deal. Now, the next morning, what ended up happening here, still that night, Tom attended a church function at 6 p.m., very like he normally does. Friday night, he goes to church.
Jesus.
So that's just a normal thing. I'm going to get off work, go to the bait and tackle shop, look at the bows, head over to Rusty's, grab some ammo, and then I got to get to church. It's Friday night.
To praise the Lord.
Wow, super strange here. He returned home around 9:30 p.m.
3 hours of praising?
3 hours at church, Friday night church.
What?
Fuck, I hope there's blowjobs at that church. I hope somebody is fucking putting out at that church.
That is a lot of time there.
Why else would a single 23-year-old man go to church for 3 hours on a Friday night unless there was unless there was women there?
Somebody's interested in.
I suppose At minimum. So his parents weren't there. So he went to bed. He said his parents he said they arrived 30 minutes later. So he went to bed at 10 o'clock, or between 9:30 and 10 o'clock on a Friday night after coming home from an exhausting church service. He's a swinging 23-year-old, this Tom Bledsoe boy. Holy shit.
Marathon of baptism.
That's a lot of church,
Jesus.
man. He's just, wow. Work, bows, ammo, church, bed.
No.
Fuck that. What a night. So the next morning, Tom helps around the house and worked on a lawnmower, apparently, I guess. Now, earlier that morning, before Tom was doing this, Floyd Jr. Had called his father, who Tom lives with, to tell him that Camille was missing. He says Camille's missing, and the police also asked Tom if he had seen a 13 or 14-year-old girl anywhere in the area, and Tom told them that she hadn't been around here. I haven't seen her at all. Woke up, worked on a lawnmower. I don't know what the fuck's going on here. So that was how he's saying his day went. So on the Saturday, Tom says he left for work between 11 and 1 p.m., which is a pretty big fucking window of leaving for work. He
what
says,
was your schedule, Tom?
Just
remember the fuck you supposed to be there.
I punch in when I fucking want to. That's why you think we make shit meat. We ain't got no rules in this fucking plant. That's why all our food sucks. Right. Understand? People come and go as they fucking please. Sometimes there ain't no shifts. Sometimes there's no pig. They just use the fucking rats from outside. They don't give a shit. They say, hey, we're out of pork. Fuck it, the rats will do. This place sucks. I quit.
Between 11 and 1. That is shocking that you don't know.
He doesn't know. He has no idea. He has no idea. So Tom testifies that on his way to work, he saw his brother's green car with the white top here. And Tom stopped beside his brother. This is at the edge of Oskaloosa, which sounds like a terrible movie. Yeah. At the edge of Oskaloosa. Does it?
But there's always a body there.
Yeah. Or a terrible song from somebody. Yeah. At the edge of Oskaloosa.
Ronnie Millsap shit.
Yeah, some horse shit. I don't know who that is, but yeah, that sounds right. I have no fucking idea.
Old shit country.
Okay, that's old shit country because I like old good. If it's like from the '60s and like,
there's.
But I'm sure there's a lot of old shit.
There's a couple Ronnie
country.
Millsaps that are good.
I'm sure.
I can't think
I'm sure someone will tell you.
But he's got one or two.
He's got one of them out there.
He's got a couple club bangers.
That's right. Oh yeah, they're fucking bumping through your system.
He ain't highwayman, but he's all right.
Thumping from your trunk. So he, I guess, Tom asked, Floyd asked Tom or Tom asked Floyd if Camille had been found and if any flyers had been handed out. He's like, did they find her? Do they hand out flyers? What are they doing? Yeah. He asked Floyd, okay? Tom also says that the police were looking for Camille and, Floyd said, yeah, no shit. I know that already because Tom's like, they asked me where he was. And she's like, yeah, he's like, yeah, they live at my house. Right. She lives in my house. So I was the one who told them. Right. To look for. So obviously, like we said, Floyd knew this, that the cops were looking for. Now this is all contradictory. This is after Tom tells the cops where the body is and all that sort of thing. This ends up happening. This is what Tom says later on happened. He says that Floyd at this point laid his head on his own steering wheel. Floyd did. And looked a little nervous. Tom says that he asked Floyd what was wrong, and Floyd said that Camille was dead. That's what Tom says. Now, Tom says that Floyd was mumbling, but he heard him clearly say the words, quote, accidentally shot her. So Tom says he heard Floyd say that Floyd said he accidentally shot her. Tom said he asked what? And Floyd said, quote, she's dead, accidentally shot her. That's what Tom says. Now, Tom also says that he asked Floyd why she was dead. I would assume bullets would be the number one answer to that one.
Ding, ding.
But he said that Floyd shook his head and shrugged his shoulders. Like, why'd you kill her? And I don't know why. So then Tom said he started asking why she was dead and if Floyd had raped her or sexually assaulted her.
Interesting.
And yeah, that's an interesting question. Did you rape her? Is that why you killed her? It's the first question you'd think. Accidentally shot her. He must have raped her. That's an odd thing to jump to. Now, Tom says that Floyd responded, quote, yes, no, I don't know, which is a very unclear answer.
I don't like that answer.
I don't like that answer ever. Jimmy, ask me.
You ever rape anybody?
Nope, never. Not once. Nope. Sexual assault? No, never that either.
Nothing?
Not a fucking
not
thing.
A one.
Nope. Keep my dick in my hands to myself.
You're not going to follow that with a yes or I don't know?
Nope. Not a yes, no, I don't know. Just nope. Next question.
Not one.
Next question. So that's the answer to that.
That is a fascinating answer to a fascinating. Why the jump, Tom?
Yes, no,
That's
I don't know. So Floyd, Tom says at this point, Floyd told Tom that Floyd recalled that her shirt and bra were above her breasts and that he used Tom's pistol to shoot Camille. Tom said that he, at that point, reached, because this is in a car they're meeting, like two cops that pull up next to each other with the opposite ways and talk.
With their fucking passenger or driver's side doors.
You know, like on The Wire when they pull up and say, well, they're going to go meet up and never mind, fuck it. Jesus Christ, take pictures of drug dealers, kind of like that. So Tom says once he hears that, because Floyd said, I used your pistol to shoot her after I apparently sexually assaulted her, Tom says he reached behind his truck and felt his gun in the case there. He was looking for it. He said that Floyd knew that he kept his gun in his truck. So he's saying that it must have been returned because it was back there. It was in the back of his seat here. He said that Floyd obviously knew he kept his gun there. Tom also says that Floyd told him that Floyd shot Camille once in the back of the head and twice in the chest. When Tom asked where Camille was, Floyd told him that she was in the trash dump behind their parents' house underneath some plywood and trash and dirt. So Tom is saying later on that he got the information of where the body was from Floyd, who's the murderer, and obviously
case closed.
This is after he confessed to killing the girl
and maybe raping her.
This is after that was Floyd. This is after Tom had told the police. He told the police, I killed her, here she is. She's in there. And then later on he's like, whoa, I didn't kill her actually. Here's what really happened. This is him backing up on his story.
He should be a cornerback. He's a great back.
He pedals like a bastard. Full speed, baby. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from this show to tell you about a different show, a new show from Adult Swim. Adult Swim's new stop-motion horror anthology is unlike anything you've seen before. I'll leave you with a few questions like, have you ever wondered why the universe is so vast and why human beings are so small in comparison? Why insects are even smaller but outnumber us 200 million to 1? Why your daymares are more terrifying than nightmares? Find out with the Shivering Truth, the new series on Adult Swim. Vernon Chapman and Kat Solon explore the dark tales of the unconscious mind and bring them to life with hauntingly captivating stop motion, like the tale of a man with a nest in the back of his head. That sounds terrifying. The tale of a young child with supernatural peekaboo powers, and the tale of whispering ants crawling out to warn you about your roommate. That is insane. That sounds wild. It's twisted. It's beautiful. It's thought-provoking. Best of all, it's funny, though. Though not funny, haha, more like funny, uh-oh. We know how that goes here. By the end, what you laugh at will make you cry, and what you cry at will haunt you forever. Don't miss this surreal anthology. The Shivering Truth premieres Sunday, December 9th at midnight, of course, only on Adult Swim.
And now back to the show.
Tom says at this point that Floyd told him not to tell anyone, obviously. By the way, raped and killed a teenage girl. Keep that to yourself. I think that goes without saying.
Use your gun.
Use your gun, just so you'll keep it to yourself here. He said that if anyone were to come snooping around, Floyd told him, look, if anyone comes snooping around, you're going to take the blame. You better take the blame for this. To which anybody in their right mind, I don't care if it's your brother, there's no relationship close enough to where you go, I'll say I raped and killed a 14-year-old girl, no problem. A member of my family, as a matter of fact, from the church, they'll treat me great.
Leave you on the lam? Sure, absolutely.
You know what, dude? It's cool, because that one time when we were kids, you lent me money for that ice cream truck, so I'm going to get you back now.
Deal.
You always said I owed you one, and I do.
I got
you. He says, now this is fucked up. His reasoning here, he doesn't just say you're going to take the blame and Tom says, oh, all right. He says that Tom says that Floyd told Tom, if you don't take the blame, I'm going to tell people about your past. Now, first of all, no past is equal to raping and killing a 14-year-old girl.
Unless you have raped and killed several
of other 14 or 13-year-old girls or 12-year-old girls or any other age girl or 28-year-old girls or any other girl. But Tom says that Floyd had threatened him this way before to get what he wanted. This is like Floyd's move. He says he threatens to blackmail him. The reason what he's scared of being revealed is that he thought Floyd would reveal that at one point, Tom apparently tried to have sex with a dog. Which was an
unsuccessful attempt.
Unsuccessful attempt. They caught him. Someone walked in on him trying to fuck a dog.
Okay.
And apparently Floyd was holding this information over him, and also that Tom had, quote, been caught with dirty magazines and had quote, played with himself while watching dirty movies. So he's going to tell, if you don't say you raped and killed a 14-year-old girl, I'll tell everyone that you jerk off to porn, which is like...
That's what it's for, sir.
I don't understand.
You're going to tell people I also drink Pepsi?
They're not 12. He's 23 years old. He'd be like, yeah, I got dirty magazines. Fuck yeah, I do. I jerk off all over the living room. My balls are covered in jizz. What of it, motherfucker? It's my fuck you want. I'm an adult. Who cares?
I am 37. I will twist one off in front of you, James. I don't care.
Who cares? So... the sex with a dog, that's one thing.
That's different.
Yeah. You probably don't want that to come out.
You don't want your friends to know that.
That's so outlandish, it's deniable.
Yeah.
It's so outlandish, it's deniable. Dirty magazines, you think I get it that the thing is, though, this is a guy who comes home from church.
After 3 fucking hours, James.
This is a guy who comes home from work on a Friday night and goes to church for 3 hours. So his group of people and his friends, if they pass around, Tom reads dirty magazine and plays with himself watching dirty films.
I heard he likes peanut butter.
Oh man, and then he tried to fuck a dog because he was scared that if he fucked a girl he'd go to hell, so he thought that was better. That's what I'm saying. Like, so that I guess was what he's trying to say was a big thing, but I'm not buying those don't equal what happened here.
Right.
So Tom says that he drives away from Floyd at that point, shaken up.
Yeah.
He's been told that his brother's sexually assaulted a teenage girl and killed her, and he's been threatened with, outing him of his obviously just
sordid past.
His sordid past and his weak character, obviously. Now, Tom says when he got to work, he examined his gun to see if it had been fired.
Yeah.
He had cleaned the gun the previous week, and as far as he knew, it hadn't been fired after the cleaning. But when he smelled the gun, it had a burnt, smoky smell.
You bet.
So it had been fired. Tom had loaded the gun with 10 shells before putting it behind his truck seat. Tom ain't fucking around. Yeah. In traffic, watch out for Tom.
Yeah.
But now he said there was only 2 shells left in the gun when he examined it. Smoky smell. 8 bullets gone.
Gone.
8 of them. So Tom thought about whether he should go to the police with the information, or this is his choice. This is his dilemma. He goes, I didn't know whether I should go to the police with this information or if I should just keep my mouth shut and take the rap.
What?
There's okay.
That's not a choice.
I get that some families are weird.
Yeah.
I get that some families are over enmeshed, and some siblings feel like they're, they'll do anything. They'll literally take a bullet for their siblings, and they'll do this and that, and blah blah blah. But this is not one of the things that you would do.
Yeah.
Take the rap for this type of crime. You know what I mean? Like, I have little brothers. They're great. I love them. We just saw Eric in New York. Love Eric. If you rape and kill any teenagers, you're on your own.
Going down, sir.
Mean, I'm not going to fucking fuck with you further, but I'm not going to take the rap for it either. I mean, you're on your own, mister. I don't know what to tell you. Get your shit together. But listen, my brother would never. He's a nice kid. He'd never do that. Nice guy. He's
my
like
family's weird too. I haven't talked to my sister since my daughter's birthday because my sister's an asshole. I'm
taking the rap for this shit. No,
I wouldn't even let my daughter cry over her. Taking a rap for her.
No, thank you. So this is his story of why he initially confessed to the police. He says he gets off work at 11 p.m.
Yeah.
So he goes to work with this in his brain. So all night he sits at work with this all stewing around, knowing that a member of his extended family is deceased, and and his brother killed her, and that he's being blamed for it by his brother, or else people are going to talk about how he tried to fuck a dog and how he jerks off to porn.
I don't know. Is it
1999? This isn't 1963. Right. This is 1999. Jenna Jameson was like a legit mainstream celebrity back then. Like, it was fine to jerk off to porn. No one cared. No one cared.
Was it a male dog, or is there extra shame for that?
I think there would probably be extra shame for it, I would think.
Gay?
That's homosexual bestiality. Right. I don't interspecies homosexual activity. Worse. No good. You are excommunicated. So he ends up, he gets off work at 11, and like I said, all this shit, pondering, processing. He said he went home to, quote, make sure what Floyd told him was true. Yeah. So he went home to check to see if the Camille's body was there. And that's how he knew.
What a walk.
Just to make sure, right? If this is all true, that's quite the walk. He said he drove out to the trash dump, looked around with a flashlight. He said he noticed shovel marks on the side of the bank of the ditch, and that some plywood was out of place, because he knows where all the junk plywood is in the trash heap. He said, I don't know, maybe they have a place for plywood, maybe. Yeah. Tom says he got down into the ditch and looked under the plywood. He said trash was blocking his view, and he didn't see Camille's body. He said he got out of the ditch and looked for the shovel that he'd used earlier in the week to dig up a tree. He said he spotted the shovel, probably saying that's why my fingerprints are on it.
Right.
After spotting the shovel, he said he returned to his truck and drove home. He said he put his gun in his dresser drawer. Okay. So he said he didn't even look further. He couldn't see it. He said, good enough, takes the shovel, takes the gun out of his truck and puts it in his dresser drawer. Okay. Now, after church the next evening, by the way, Tom was at church on a Saturday night as well. Yeah. Or that would be a Sunday, so that's fine. But an evening church. Tom, no, not even Sunday night football for these people. Yeah. I guess there's no team, so what do you care? Tom went to the police station. That's when he went to the police station, and he said that that's when he confessed and all of that. He said when he went before he talked to the police, he called Jim Bollinger, his minister, and left 2 messages, which... Call your lawyer. Yeah. He came with his parents and his lawyer, but leave the minister out of this shit. In the messages, he said that he was sorry and that he would, quote, pay for the rest of his life for what he had done. And he did not say, but he didn't say that he killed Camille. He just said he was sorry and he's going to pay for the rest of his life for what he had done. And that's it. But then, once he gets to the police station, he tells police officers that he shot Camille. Okay. He says that he turned himself in for something that he didn't do because he didn't want people to know about his past. Right. All that whacking off and
you're going to ask about that, and that's going to be in the paper now.
That's the thing. Either way, it's coming out, but you're going to add this to it. Just say, yeah, that's right. That happened. Right. I was shit-faced. Now, since then, though, I go to church every Friday night, and Jesus, Lord, Savior, has taken me from the depths of fucking dogs and jerking off to filthy hewers, and now I'm all good. I go to church Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Oftentimes Monday.
Sometimes
on Tuesday. It's closed. I'll just sit on the steps.
Sometimes they tell me, now that's enough of that shit. Come on back tomorrow. We've had enough of you. And I just say, you know what? I just want to help out. I just love the Lord. So,
you ever seen a pug's asshole? It walks around displaying
it's just asking for it. For lack of a better term, because I understand it's not the most but they're asking for it. I'm sorry. Asking for it.
That bitch is begging.
Oof. So he also said at this point, not only did he not want people to know about his past, but he also said that he thought about that he wanted Floyd's children to grow up with their father in their home. He says a day or two after his arrest, he was ashamed about lying. Yeah. That's when it just the shame of lying about saying he killed the person and keeping the secret. It was too much for him. It was too much, and he had to talk with the police again. And this is when he said, "This is what really happened. I talked to Floyd. He told me this. Said I'll tell everyone about your whacking and everything else." So he said that he could not live with himself because Floyd had told him where Camille's body was, and he just couldn't ignore it and act like it never happened. He just couldn't. He's too good of a guy, Jimmy. He's just too good of a guy.
He's really nice.
He's a nice man, apparently.
Loves
this time.
his brother.
Loves his brother. He's willing to take the rap for him and his kids here.
Literally anything.
But yeah, that's what he says happened. And I mean, you know what I'm saying? A shrug of the shoulders of what the fuck do we know here? So Cody, who is Floyd's 2-year-old son, he made statements, I guess, kind of implicating Tom and Floyd, this child. The child's statements developed this way. Floyd and his wife Heidi had the 2 sons here. Heidi dropped the boys off at a babysitter's house at 12:45 p.m. on Friday, the day of the disappearance. Okay, before she went to work, the babysitter watched the boys until 12:45 a.m. 12 hours. Until then, in the morning when Floyd picked them up. I guess because they were looking for Camille. Floyd brought them back to the babysitter around 2:45 a.m.
Wow.
And then returned at 8:30 a.m. to get them. Now, on Monday night, which is November 8th, Cody tells his mom that Tom had killed Camille. That's what he told his mom.
The 2-year-old says.
Says that. The 2-year-old says that they say that he described Tom shooting Camille, wrapping her in a blanket, and putting her in the dump. This is a 2-year-old. Rosa Bollinger, who is a girl who attended the same church as Camille, said she also heard Cody telling a story about Tom shooting Camille. So multiple people have heard this. Rosa told police that Cody said, quote, Tom shot Camille, boom, 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 and dumped her in the water. He said that Tom put his blanket around Camille and also put Camille's blanket around her. Tom closed Camille's eyes and kissed her cheeks, is what he said. And later, Cody changed what he said, telling his mother that now he says Daddy shot Camille. Literally, like 2 days later, the kid changes his story too. The 2-year-old says, Mommy, Daddy, all the things, it was Daddy shot Camille and Daddy threw Camille in the water and all this. So this is fucking confusing. Who the fuck killed this goddamn kid? Let's talk about this here. Let's talk a little more about Floyd, because all we've heard about Floyd is through others, through Tom, through his threats of exposure. Now, Floyd spoke to cops on Monday, November 8th. So that's 3 days after Friday she disappeared. He said that he met Camille's school bus on the road on Friday after it stopped at his trailer. Floyd said that he stopped at his trailer, but Camille wasn't there. That he then denied going to the trailer. So his story changes. First, he said that he met the school bus on the road. Then he said he stopped at the trailer, but she wasn't there. Then he denied that he was ever at the trailer. So these are 3 different stories about that afternoon, which is not a good sign.
That's too many stories.
Too many stories for Floyd. So a detective went to a hardware store and verified that Floyd had purchased duct tape and a sweatshirt at 4:20 p.m. Okay, bad.
On Friday.
On Friday at 4:20 p.m. when his brother was at Rusty's buying ammunition.
Right.
So after returning to the Zool dairy farm where he worked, Floyd worked at the dairy farm right there. He went out into a field. Floyd did to check on a cow, and then rode a 4-wheeler toward the farm to start milking the cows. That's what he does here at the Zool dairy farm. Now, Richard Zool estimates that milking the cows takes 3.5 to 4.5 hours, followed by about 30 minutes of barn cleaning. Bledsoe, Floyd, he called Zool at 11:30 p.m. to tell him that one of the cows was not giving milk. So that's a long period of time that it takes longer than what he says. You know what I mean? Because he's 11:30. He supposedly got to the dairy farm before 5, and he's saying at 11:30 he's still fucking with the cows. That's 6.5 hours later when the boss said it only takes 3.5 to 4.5. 5 hours max.
Milk them all.
5 hours max in and out, milk them all and clean the barn. Maximum. And this is 6.5 hours later. He hasn't even started cleaning yet. He's still talking about one cow not giving milk. So shit's weird here. Now,
think he ever fucked a cow.
Oh, fuck. They all did, I'm sure. I'm sure. It would probably... one of these guys, not all of them, but some of them probably, I'm sure they get drunk enough till they will be like, can't be that bad. Like, you know.
I bet it could accommodate.
I mean,
I bet I could fit it.
How different can it be?
I bet I could fit it.
I bet. You know what? Fuck it.
I'm going to
do it. I'm going to do it right now. So, Heidi arrived home from work, and if we remember, too, he picked the kids up at 12:45 a.m.
Yeah.
So we're talking 11:30, not giving milk, 12:45 a.m. he's picking up the kids. So it's taking a little bit longer than it should here. Yeah. Now, Heidi arrived home from work around midnight on November 5th that night. Floyd pulled his car in behind her, and they separated to look for Camille. Okay. Heidi said that Camille was missing. She reported her the next day. Floyd picked up two of Camille's sisters and returned with them to Oskaloosa. Okay. So that's two of Heidi and Camille's sisters, so two of his sisters-in-law, and brought them into town because I guess they were staying with the mother. Brought them into town to help look, okay? The next day, Floyd took flyers describing Camille to the school. He wore the black sweatshirt he bought at the hardware store on that Friday night. So from the time he bought the sweatshirt, he wore that all the way through Sunday. From purchase to Sunday, because he hadn't sleep or anything. He was just looking for 70 hours.
There's
Same
1,000
sweatshirt.
people in this entire town, and he's hanging flyers at the school.
They know who she is. They know who she is. That's what I mean. It's so that's. I thought that was very odd too. I was like, the flyers. It's
a bit overkill.
To the school. Yeah. I don't get. They all know her there.
Where she goes.
Now, in his first statement to the police, Tom claimed that the conversation with Floyd took place before noon, the one that we talked about, him putting his head down and all that. Now, later on, an officer testifies that he was at Floyd's trailer from about 9 a.m. till about 12:17 p.m. and that Floyd was there the whole time. So that's everything's contradictory. There's two sides to everything here. A neighbor testified that he was driving by the trailer between 12:15 and 12:30 that day, and Floyd stopped him and handed him a flyer on the Saturday. He's there around the trailer till at least 12:30, and Tom said that the conversation happened before noon. So that's kind of where we're at now. Another officer said he provided Tom with information to help him. He said that Tom was not sure about the time that he talked to Floyd on the road, and had not been trying to be exact when giving a time. He just said around, I think it was before noon is what he said. I wasn't saying exactly when it was. When Tom said when he reviewed and remembered the different events, he changed the time of his talking to Floyd till afternoon, so to make it convenient. Right. Now, things look bad for Tom either way. He can change his story and flip it, but he confessed and said where the body is.
It's really looking bad for both of them.
It's looking bad for both of them, but Tom worse. So what ends up happening here, interesting, a few days later, Floyd is arrested. Okay. Floyd's arrested, and Tom is let go.
Whoa. That's a fascinating development.
Yes.
What happened?
So Floyd is charged with first-degree murder at this point, the same charge that Tom had been charged with that has now been dropped. Okay. So they drop one, charge another. Wow, this is insane. Floyd had complained to reporters that they didn't report his Camille's disappearance fast enough, and on that Monday, he said there should have been more reporting of it and all that sort of thing here. This is fucking insane here that they drop it against Tom. I don't even know what to say about this. This is fucking bonkers, man. So Heidi Bledsoe, the sister and wife of now the accused murderer, she's proclaiming Floyd's innocence.
You don't do that.
She's saying, quote, "I just know Floyd didn't do it. No, that's not the kind of person Floyd is." That's like you saying, "It's my kind of guy."
Yeah.
So he's displaying, everyone else thinks he's displaying true junior behavior. Yeah. And she's saying no. Now, this is the whole thing is so fucked up, man. Thomas Bledsoe was released as a part of an agreement between the defense attorney and the county attorney that he's also going to testify against Floyd. Okay. That's part of it too. He's going to all that shit that he said, he's going to say that exact shit in court. Yep. I talked to him then, he put his head down on yes, no, I don't know. All that shit. Because, by the way, they don't release this in the papers. They hold this tight to the vest. But Camille was raped as well. Yeah. And there's semen that they have a sample of and everything else.
Oh, no.
So, this is... That doesn't really help with the brothers because they have the same blood type, or they have the same. It's not a DNA. We'll talk about the DNA. Never mind. We'll get to it. Hold on a minute.
Half the unzipper.
We'll talk about how it is though. So they said as a result of all this evidence, they arrested him at 3 a.m. on a Saturday. Floyd. It is first-degree premeditated murder, aggravated kidnapping, and aggravated indecent liberties, is what they call it.
That's interesting.
Indecent liberties is how they're doing it.
It's just fucking rape, sir.
That's what I would say. Yeah. And I don't know if that could be worse in Kansas. Indecent
that
liberties.
That encompass so many different things.
That could, that could be a worse overall charge. So there's a preliminary hearing. And in this, Tom testifies. He says that his brother, quote, ordered him to take the rap for killing the girl. Obviously, he's kind of the star witness here. He says that Tom says that he was originally charged, but he just did it. Like I said, he changed his mind out of fear that his brother might kill again. Yeah. That's what he said in court. He said, well, if he did it to that young girl, he could do it to anybody, and I just couldn't live with myself.
But why would you take the rap?
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's like,
place?
So his children would have a father. Yeah. Tom said, I don't have any kids. He's got 2 kids. So
he's gonna do it again, Tom.
Yeah, Tom says at this point in court that Floyd confessed to him, saying that he killed Camille after what he called a, quote, sexual encounter went awry, is what he said. Now, this is interesting here. The judge here, there's preliminary hearings. The judge, over Miranda rights. Floyd saying he wasn't advised of his Miranda rights. The judge said that he was fully apprised of his Miranda rights. He voluntarily submitted to officers' interviews and all that sort of shit. That's when he had like his statements that were, I was here, then I didn't see her, then I did see her, and all that sort of shit. Now, Kansas Bureau of Investigation testified that Bledsoe was not under arrest when he was being interrogated and all that sort of shit. So they said they got enough information and enough wrong statements and fucked up double talking out of Floyd to where they were suspicious of him, independent of Tom, basically. Now, during the trial, April 2000, the coroner said that it was likely that Camille was shot in the head first, placed in the position in the ditch, and then shot 3 more times.
Horrible.
Like a mob killing. Yeah. Like they shot him, bang, 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 like a death squad. Yeah. Like some sort of,
or like he shot
third world country death squad.
Doesn't know where to shoot somebody, and when he dumped her in the ditch, she moaned or something. He was like, that bitch gotta die.
Yeah, that just seems to me like that's what they do in like Cambodia. And they just pop one in the head and then pop when you fall in the hole, and then next. Like it just seems very unceremonious and weird. Now, Floyd argues that there's no explanation. He said that there's no explanation. The police have no timeline. Like, even in, like, if you listen to Serial, like, there's a timeline of what they think, whether you believe it or not. They put together what they think is the timeline. Adnan went here, then him and Jay went here, and blah, blah, blah.
It's kind of the job of the prosecutor.
You need to tell a story to the jury. Usually, the jury needs to see a narrative. They need to see it play out in their head, and they go, oh, that makes sense. He went here, then he went there, then he went here.
And not just a plausible, opportunistic one, but it's got to be...
It's got to be right.
It's got to make more sense than the lie that the defendant is telling.
Exactly. You need to, and then you can twist shit.
Right.
And
which one is more believable, this or this?
What do you think?
Right.
Yeah. So, and you add in physical evidence then and everything else. So, Floyd says there was never an explanation given by the prosecution about how he stole Tom's gun and then put it back in his truck without anybody noticing.
You don't have to.
They said basically, how would he steal his gun, kill Camille, bury her on the farm, and then replace the gun without anybody noticing? He said they don't have any explanation. They don't have any timeline. They don't say how I did that. He also says that there was a dog on the property and the family was home late at night. Nobody heard any shots. Nobody heard anything. He's saying, how'd I do any of that shit, basically? The state says that there was evidence that Camille was afraid to be alone at night with Bledsoe when Heidi was working. Rosa Bollinger, the girl that went to church with her, she testifies that Camille told her that Floyd was, quote, always hitting on her and trying to get her to wrestle with him. She said that Camille told her that if he would not stop, Camille would just go into her room. The state also says that Bledsoe was in love with Camille, Floyd Bledsoe. Now, records show that Floyd told the police that he loved Camille and Heidi. He loved Camille, and that Heidi and he were about to get a divorce. that comes out that comes out in court that there's documents that were filed that they're about to get divorced, and that he asked Camille what she was going to do after the divorce, and that Camille told Floyd that she didn't know, but Camille told Rosa that she wanted to move in with Rosa. She asked if she could move in with her because she doesn't want to be around
get the fuck out of this.
Any of this shit. Yeah. Now, around 10:30 p.m. on the Friday of the disappearance, November 5th, Camille's mother called up Floyd and said she was going to call the police. She said, Camille's not home yet. You haven't seen her. I haven't seen her. I'm calling the cops. Now, the mother says that Bledsoe told her not to. Floyd told her not to. Floyd's brother-in-law testified that he and two other people drove to the dairy at around 11 p.m. to talk to Floyd, but Floyd's car was gone and the lights were out. So, all his times are all fucked up.
Yeah.
Now, 12:45 a.m. that night, Bledsoe picked up his sons from the babysitter, like we said, returned them to the babysitter 2 hours later. Cody, the 2-year-old son at that point, told people that Tom shot Camille, wrapped him in the blanket, and that she was put into the dump. And then later that day, he changed it to Daddy shot her. Now, this sounds like also he heard about somebody did this, and but at that point, nobody knew that happened to her. So the kid had to see something or hear something, somebody telling something. Heidi acknowledges at trial that Cody's story and his actions were graphic enough to suggest that he did observe what he knew details. And 2-year-old kids,
they're a little shit on those.
They haven't seen a lot of murders usually, or even a lot of poor dramatized murders, even TV. They have no ideas of how murder plots go down to where they could just make shit up like that.
Even if they did know how murder plots go, they're not real good with the details.
Not really.
Their stories are shit.
If they're even stories about shit they've seen or shit. So if they have details, that shit must have really burned into their fucking mind, because otherwise shit's gone in 2 seconds. So Bledsoe, the Bledsoe father, Tom and Floyd's father, testifies that he saw Floyd's green car pass on the road the next day, sometime after Tom had left. He said in a conversation between Floyd and his mother said, quote, "Well, I know Tom didn't do it." And Floyd responded, "Yes, I know Tom didn't do it. Somebody else did." That's what the father said he overheard. And then he said, "Well, maybe Dad did it then." And his mother said, "Floyd, that's not true." And he was just trying to, I don't know if he was being funny or what. Sure. So Tom testifies, obviously, star witness. During cross-examination, the defense attorney, Floyd's attorney, asks Tom why he didn't just turn Floyd in, and he wondered why Tom would take the blame for a crime he didn't commit. These are all good questions at trial. Yeah. And at trial, it sounds silly when you're like, well, I was going to take the rap for, sexual assault and murder of a teenager.
Not just any teenager.
Yeah.
Somebody in my family tree.
Yeah, someone in my family tree, church-going kid. Yeah. Not a runaway crackhead that I found in an alley somewhere. This is somebody where people in this community are going to want to fuck me up for doing this.
And I'm for sure going to take the rap of murdering that person.
Yeah, absolutely. No shit, man. So then he had to describe in court that he was afraid that he was going to be accused of fucking a dog and jerking off and having dirty magazines. So no matter what happened, he had to, in open court,
divulge his most fucking intimate details.
Divulge the shit he doesn't want to. He said, but also they also said that he was very vague on the stand, saying that only his religious beliefs made him take the blame to protect the future of Floyd's young sons. He's like, my convictions, my love of the Lord was so strong that I figured I'd sit in jail for the rest of my life. So Floyd's 2 young sons would have a nice murdering rapist father, because that's the best thing for them to be around.
I can't imagine.
So during the cross-examination of this is a defense witness. This is an officer being cross-examined by the prosecution here, and this is an exchange here. The question is, quote, to the officer, quote, "Were you present when Tom during one of those interviews when he was actually confronted with Floyd?" They interviewed both of them at the same time at one point. The police did.
They
brought Tom and Floyd into the same room, sat them down, said,
some questions.
What happened, fellas?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a police. We've discussed this. I'm not an attorney. You're not an attorney. We're not lawyers. We're not journalists. We're not any of these things. We're certainly not police officers. Right. I have seen enough television to know that shit is not procedure.
No.
The first fucking thing you do is split everybody up.
Yeah.
Nobody gets to talk to anybody.
Find flaws, inconsistencies.
Fucking get a story from each of them and figure out where the fucking, and then you got something to go on.
Right.
You never get two people in the same room and go, so fellas, what happened? Especially two brothers.
Right.
You get two brothers, they might be able to improv a bullshit.
Right.
If you got us in the same room,
I'm sure we could figure it out.
We could fucking fool you, I bet. And we're not even, we didn't even grow up together.
I didn't even hurt anybody.
We didn't even hurt shit. So he says, this cop says he was. They said, explain to the jury what happens. Now, the cop says, quote, there was an agreement that was made during the course of the interview when I was interviewing Floyd Bledsoe that Tom would be brought in the interview room, and at that time it would be Floyd, Tom, and I discussing the homicide of Camille.
Oh, boy.
What the fuck? Tom entered the room, and the one thing that I noted quickly was that Tom got as far away from Floyd as he possibly could and put his back to the wall. The next thing that I noticed was that Floyd he just stared down at him, more of an intimidation type factor. He's saying Floyd stared at Tom, and that I could tell Tom was very, very uneasy being in the room at that time. And they said, did Tom's demeanor change compared to what it was before? And the answer was, the impression that I got from Tom Bledsoe was that at that point in time, he became strong. I don't know how to explain it, but he challenged Floyd. He challenged Floyd in a way, in my opinion, that he was able to stand up for the first time in front of Floyd and tell him the truth and to state the truth. And they said, what did he say? And he said that Tom said that he wanted this cop to know the truth. He wanted everybody to know the truth, that he fucked dogs and jerked off to porn. No, he said that he wanted everybody to know the truth, that he wasn't going to hide the truth anymore. And then he asked him what the truth was, and he said that Floyd Bledsoe killed Camille.
Yeah.
That's his truth. So that's what happened in the room.
Sets me free.
He stood up and said, it's all Floyd, and Floyd didn't jump up and rip his throat out,
right,
which you should do if someone accuses you of murder that you didn't do. What, motherfucker? I didn't fucking kill any girl. Are you kidding me? I didn't do this shit. Now, the defense here, this is a tough defense. The defense insists that Floyd was working at the time of the disappearance. All he was doing was, buying shit for the farm, milking cows, doing all that sort of shit. He couldn't have taken his brother's gun, abducted the girl, then returned the gun, do all of that shit. They talked about the dairy a little bit in court here. We won't get into the times and all that, but they do know that he was at Winchester Hardware to buy duct tape and returned alone around 5 p.m. He drove, the duct tape was for the farm, by the way. He was sent there to buy the duct tape and a sweatshirt. He also said that his wife, Zool's wife, the owner of the dairy, saw Floyd begin the evening milking around 6:15 or 6:30, and that he called him from the barn around 11:30 to tell him that there was a cow not giving milk. Yeah. They remember him being in the hardware store for 20 minutes. A detective testified that Floyd admitted to him in an informal conversation that he had once pulled into his trailer park before returning to work. And then later on, he denied that he ever said that. He said, I never went near the trailer. I never saw Camille. I don't know shit. Now, defense also questioned why another possible suspect wasn't included, who was, they were saying, well, what about, they said that a bloodhound and its trainer attempted to track Camille's scent, and the dog followed the scent toward an area where some other guy lives somewhere. And he said that residents in the neighborhood were interviewed, and they all thought it was a dead end, and that's why they said it was just a false alarm on the dog. That's why the dog wasn't taken to the dairy, and the dog didn't do much for, I guess, basically here. They also submitted into evidence 35 photographs of the scene. Only one photograph shows Camille's t-shirt and bra were lifted, exposing her breasts. It was the opinion of the guy going over at the cop that the body was buried in that condition. He also said that 3 9mm shell casings were found at the burial scene and all that sort of thing. So, closing arguments here. Floyd's lawyer maintains his client was not gone from his job long enough to have killed and buried and then returned the gun and all that sort of shit. The prosecutor had a pretty succinct little closing, and then at the end he just said Floyd did it, and that was it. So his summation was that Camille was afraid to be alone with Floyd. Floyd loved her and wanted her to know that wanted to know if she was going to live after the divorce. All that stuff we said here. He admitted to 2 separate law enforcement officers on 2 separate occasions that he'd been at the trailer within minutes of her being dropped off. That was when they said her school bag was there. The young girl saw her school bag and her jacket. All that sort of shit. This all coincides with the Colonel Noble, the army, member of the Army bow hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Him hearing the young woman scream, the whole deal. They said that Bledsoe could have been finished with his chores at 10:30 p.m., where he received a phone call from Camille's mother saying she was going to the police. He told her not to. They said he was absent from the dairy shortly after that. Then he picked his son up at 12:45. So they're saying that the evidence suggests that Cody witnessed Camille being shot and put in the ditch. So their theory is that he picked his kids up at 12:45, that he had kidnapped Camille and had her somewhere, went to work, did his work, got a call from the mother who said, I'm going to call the police. He said, no, don't call the police. Left his job, picked his kid up quick, went to where he had Camille kept, killed her, dumped her with his son there, killed her, dumped her in the dump, and then took his kid back to the babysitter. Clean as a whistle. That's the theory here that they're saying here. That's their whole thing. Okay. There's no theory on when he got the gun and all that. Just they said he could have got that earlier in the day or whatever. Now Cody was only with him for that little time period and all that. People saw the car, whatever. Also, Floyd informed his mother that that he knew Tom didn't kill Camille, and then he attempted to blame his father. Now, the verdict is, they go to, and it's still an interesting deliberation here. Just, people just going, I don't like any of these fucking people in this whole family. The verdict, they come back.
That boy fucked cows. And the other one fucked a dog.
One fucked a dog, and I think the other one diddled a teenager. I don't like any of these damn people.
Family's a bit much.
It's a little weird. So, verdict here, 1st-degree premeditated murder, aggravated kidnapping, and aggravated indecent liberties. They find Floyd guilty of all of these charges here. Now, for sentencing on this, the county attorney asks the judge to impose the maximum sentence of life without the possibility of parole because the nature of the crimes and the relationship between him and the victim. It's not like this was a random person. Right. This was somebody
they were close.
Yeah, this was someone he should have had compassion for. Right. Never mind a fucking stranger. This is even worse. Yeah. The attorney said, quote, she lived with him. He was responsible for her. The most egregious offense Floyd Bledsoe committed while she was alive, while she was conscious of what was going on. He put the gun to the back of her head with her breasts exposed and executed her. That's rough when you're talking about that sounds tough when people have your life in their hands and they say that. Wow.
And a child with her breasts out, and then he shot her.
A ninth grader. This is a ninth grader. This is insanity. This is a freshman. This is a child. They also, when requesting the maximum sentence, the prosecutor told the judge that he didn't believe that Floyd could ever be rehabilitated and that this was the only way to protect other victims was to have him life without parole. Put away. He says, quote, 25 years from now, there's going to be another Camille Arfman. Other victims can end up in a trash dump with a bullet in the back of their head and 3 in their chest. Now, Tommy Arfman, who's the mother of Camille. This is Camille's mother. She addressed the court before the sentencing. She said that her life since her daughter's death has been a nightmare that she can't wake up from and asks for simple justice. She said, quote, Camille got life. I think he should get life. She can't get out of that grave. I don't think he should walk out of that jail alive. We owe that to her and to every other kid. Which sounds pretty damn good here. Bledsoe proclaimed his innocence to the court. More, he said, quote, this is his, they said, would you have anything to say for yourself before sentencing, when they usually say something that is
anything of redeeming quality for your character?
He says, quote, first of all, I'd like to say that I didn't do it, which is the worst thing you say to the judge. Even if you didn't do it, that's not figure out a way to be tactful about it. He said he also disputed several of the prosecution's trial arguments at sentencing. The prosecutor got this wrong. When the fuck did I get the gun? He went through his case that he's been talking about forever here. He questioned, this is all in his, do you have anything to say for yourself? He questioned how the prosecution proved he was able to commit the kidnapping within a certain time frame. He said, quote, if Vanderbilt, who's the prosecutor, can show me where this 2 hours of unaccountable time is, I'll just sit down and shut up and take the time. That's what he said. Not the best thing to say.
No, that's a challenge.
Yeah, and they're going to go, well, either way, you're going to do that. Right. So, I mean, it's not like, he also asked why a prosecutorial witness who testified that he heard a woman screaming in the woods, did not also hear his noisy truck. Well, a scream carries a lot longer distance in the deal. But he said, yeah, you would have heard my noisy truck if she was screaming, like they said. Floyd also, they said, offered little insight into the identity of the murderer. He said, quote, Tom Bledsoe, my brother, why he did this, I don't know. What he's done, I don't know. He just said a lot of I don't knows. Why he did it, I don't know. What he's done, I don't know. I don't know what happened. Don't
ask me because I don't know.
I don't know a lot. Remember I said yes, no, I don't know? Right. The answer in the end is I don't know.
Heavy on I don't know.
I'm very, very heavy on the I don't know. So the judge ends up here in a, you, sir, may fuck off. He gets life in prison for this murder here. Is handed down to sentences of 155 months for aggravated kidnapping, 41 months for aggravated indecent liberties with a child, and life for the murder. He will be eligible for parole after 25 years.
Which puts him at pretty goddamn
Which puts him
close.
at 50.
But it's pretty close to today.
It's pretty close to today.
It's only 6-8 years away.
Well, we'll talk about it here. Post-sentencing, the mother said that she didn't think that the sentence was enough. No. The mother of Camille, obviously. She said, quote, personally, I want to see people who do that fry. So she wants to see Tom fry here. Now, he appeals, obviously. This is a stiff sentence. You got to appeal that shit. He appeals on lack of evidence. He argues that the state only had the testimony of his brother, Tom, to take the case, quote, beyond mere speculation that he was involved. He also says that a murder conviction must be grounded on something more than probabilities, possibilities, and suspicions of guilt. He said that he talks about a lot of other cases here where he said there was a doctor who was found guilty of attempted murder of one patient, and basically it's so weird, man. I don't know. The way he's comparing shit, his legal team, it doesn't quite add up. He's comparing a doctor's case of like killing a patient by accident, right, and he's trying to bring that up in his. I get if he's trying to make a legal point, but it's still it seems like a stretched legal point, just from my point of view. But then again, I'm not an attorney, so what the fuck do I know?
You either?
No, I'm not. You? No, shit. It's a shocker. I'm surprised. You stopped. I know you stopped.
I was really thinking about it.
It's tough, man.
I was thinking real hard on it.
You were. I mean, you were at Harvard Law for a while, and I said it was tough for you. And I remember you were just like,
out of that too.
Trying to do this. I'm trying. I got a band. I'm doing comedy. You had a lot of stuff going on. I'm dating that princess. You were really working a lot, so it's fine. He said also the jury, the way the court. Appeals court says here that the jury heard Tom's testimony. Floyd didn't testify. The case was tried and argued to the jury primarily as a contest of Tom's credibility. The jury believed Tom. This is what it was entitled to do. Bledsoe, Floyd, essentially asks us to reweigh our evidence. Our function is not to reweigh the evidence or to pass on the credibility of witnesses. So they're saying fuck off on there. He argues the kidnapping charge. He's saying that, he contends that even if there was sufficient evidence to support his murder conviction, his conviction for aggravated kidnapping was not supported by sufficient evidence, even though how else would he have got her there? I think that's just logical evidence. Yeah. You would have had to have grabbed her and taken her there to kill her. Right. But he's saying she could have went voluntarily. What the fuck do you know? They said that the following instruction was given. There's like 5 different things that have to be proven: that they took or confined her by force, that the kidnapping was done with the intent to hold the person, a bunch of shit that's obviously kidnapping, basically here. Floyd notes that at the close of the state's case, the district judge commented that he had heard no evidence of kidnapping. However, the judge later denied Floyd's motion for a judgment of acquittal on the kidnapping charge. charge. So he says all of that. According to the coroner, it was likely that they said was shot and then thrown into the ditch and shot 3 more times. And Bledsoe argues that none of that evidence supports the theory that she was confined, taken by force, or moved until after her death.
Because the third one...
Until after her death. Look, I killed her before I kidnapped her. I kidnapped a corpse, which technically ain't kidnapping. It's just fucking with a corpse. It's different. It's different. That's basically what he's saying here, which I don't know what he would have done with her at the other time. The investigators said that they concluded by the lack of physical evidence at the burial site, such as blood, that she was not shot in the head at the site. And Floyd argues that if the shot to the back of the head was first, it may have been fired suddenly when Camille was in a place that she had voluntarily accompanied her abductor. So he's saying, hey, whoever shot her in the back of the head, whether it had been me or Tom or whoever the fuck it was, whoever it was, I mean, she could have went willingly,
she clearly did,
perfectly willingly along with that person, and then they shot her in the head. That doesn't mean they kidnapped her first. Wow.
But she wasn't shot at the scene, so obviously she spent some time.
He argues that there was no evidence of any kind concerning her, the movements of her, except that she wasn't at the trailer shortly after the bus dropped her off. He points out that if Camille went willingly with the killer to another location, there was no taking or confining, and no evidence that she was, there's no evidence in the trailer that she left unwillingly. There's no struggle. There's no anything like that. The state observes that the colonel there, the bow hunting colonel, heard a woman screaming, and they said that even if Camille was voluntarily with Bledsoe, at the point of screaming, she was no longer acting with consent. So that's what they're saying. So also aggravated liberties with a child. Let's get into this quick here. Very, very quick. He argues, Floyd does, that the state failed to prove the elements of aggravated indecent liberties with a child beyond a reasonable doubt. He says that he asserts that there was no evidence to support a finding that Camille was alive during the alleged crime of indecent liberties with a child.
Which is worse.
His argument is, I might have fucked her when she was dead. Now, y'all can't prove.
Is that right?
What the fuck kind of argument is that to put out in court? His 2 arguments are, Tom's a liar. 3 arguments. Yeah. Tom's a liar. Yeah. She might have went with me to get shot in the head, and I might have fucked her after she's dead. Now let me go, right? I get to go home now. What time? Hold on. When's the bus leave out of this place?
The more y'all know. That's what that is.
Wow. This is fucking insane here. They say that, he says in his motion for a new trial, he argued there was no evidence to support aggravated indecent liberties conviction. They disagree. The court, they said that Camille's t-shirt and bra were found pulled up above her breasts. A doctor, a forensic pathologist, concluded that the clothing was probably pulled up over her breasts before she was shot in the chest because of the location of the holes in the garments. He testified to raise the clothing to the position it was found, you'd have to get down to wherever it is and pull it up because it's up over the breast. I mean, it's really up and folded over the breast. Really? So it wasn't just like pulled up a little, it was pulled over. He said it's usually what we see when somebody is trying to move clothing rather than move a body. Tom also testified that Floyd had told him that Camille's shirt and bra were pulled up over her breasts. Tom said that he asked Bledsoe if she had raped or sexually abused him, and then we have the yes, no, I don't know, all of that shit. So they said that they could conclude beyond a reasonable doubt that he did commit indecent liberties. They also said that they admitted hearsay evidence because his son Cody didn't actually testify. His son Cody's testimony came in through his wife, which he's 2. So they said he says it was a violation of his constitutional rights and the whole deal. Also, the officer here, we'll go back to this for 1 second. The statements about basically, Rose Bollinger also, there's statements that come in through a cop that he talks about statements that Rose Bollinger made, and he's saying that that's hearsay, which I guess she can testify, but don't you also have the cop up there to say that that's what she told them?
Right.
And then she tells it too, so then it's corroborated by she said it before and she's still saying it now.
You would hope so.
That's what I thought too. I don't know. I've watched a lot of trial shit. They said defense counsel read into the record Captain Turner's written narrative report of his interview with Rosa. When a defendant opens up the subject on direct or cross-examination, the state may develop this sort of thing. So yes, that's true. They say that's bullshit. Also, Floyd contends that the district court erred by allowing testimony that concerned a joint interview with Tom and Floyd. Remember the testimony we told you about the cop saying that Tom wanted to stay away from Floyd and Floyd looked like he was trying to intimidate him. He also says, quote, allowing an officer to give opinion testimony regarding the veracity of Tom's statements to the police. Because he was like, hey, they were both in there and I believe Tom. Yeah. But, I mean, the whole thing was about Tom's credibility. So you'd have to say, what did you believe him when he said this? I would assume here. Bledsoe requested, Floyd did, that the state refrain from introducing evidence regarding polygraph tests and results. Now, at the hearing on the motion, the parties agreed that the test should not be introduced because he had a wishy-washy polygraph test where it was inconclusive type of thing here. So they don't talk about that in court at all. Also, they say a review of the detective's testimony shows that although he testified that he was familiar with interviewing techniques that are helpful in determining whether a suspect is being truthful or deceptive, he was not vouching for Tom's credibility. Instead, the context shows that he referred to the truth according to Tom. He was saying Tom thought he was telling the truth, not Tom was telling the truth because I know the facts. Thus, the jury was presented with Tom's version of what happened and was left to weigh the credibility of his statements. They find no error, affirmed.
How's about that?
Fuck off, Floyd. So Floyd is going away. Now, November 2015. November 2015. He's
16 years later.
16 years later. Floyd Bledsoe, he's serving a life sentence, obviously, for killing his sister-in-law. All of a sudden now, attorneys for the Project for Innocence and Post-Conviction Remedies at Kansas University released DNA evidence in late October showing semen found in Camille's body. And this semen likely belonged to not Floyd, but Tom.
Really?
But Tom. Now, Tom, 2 weeks after this, is found dead from an apparent suicide in the parking lot of a Kansas Walmart.
Holy shit.
On November 9th. Very soon after this. Now, Tom was found with a bag over his head and his left arm bandaged from what authorities thought was likely a previous suicide attempt. So he's been trying to kill himself for a while and he finally figured it out. He went to Walmart and he said, this is as good a place as any.
Unbelievable.
Now, the captain of detectives here does not believe Tom's suicide was a coincidence. And his rationale is supported by 3 suicide notes Tom left behind, one addressed to his wife, one addressed to his parents, and the other addressed to, quote, whomever cares. One of them starts, quote, I killed Camille Arfman on November 5th, 1999. He said, quote, I had sex with her and killed her. And then more DNA evidence came out, proving that it was definitely Tom Bledsoe's semen found inside Camille. Also on her sock, DNA from Floyd and from Floyd's father.
Oh my God.
But on her sock, though.
Yeah.
And they think that's because Tom had sex with her on the father's bed, on the parents' bed, and that's how any kind of DNA from them
or some shit.
Yes, that's what it was. It was contact DNA. Yeah. Now, he killed himself, like we said, shortly after this. It's a series of suicide notes. He said, quote, I sent an innocent man to prison. The Jefferson County Police and County Attorney Jim Vanderbilt made me do it. I was told by Vanderbilt to keep my mouth shut. Now I'm going to set things right. I killed Camille Arfman on November 5th, 1999. I had sex with her and killed her. I drove her up to the ditch where the family dumped trash and tried to convince her not to tell. I went to my truck and got my 9mm that was behind my seat. I pushed her to the ground and tried to scare her, but it failed, and the gun went off behind her head. I might as well go ahead and say it. I raped and murdered a 14-year-old girl. Wow. I tried telling the truth, but no one would listen. I was told to keep my mouth shut. It tore me up doing it. I would ask for forgiveness, but I know no one will come, not even from God. Floyd S. Bledsoe is an innocent man. Tom E. Bledsoe is the guilty one. Whoa. Holy shit.
So what's going on with Floyd?
So, Floyd's attorney at this point, Russell Ainsworth, for the past 16 years, called this, quote, the worst case of prosecutorial misconduct he's ever seen. He said, quote, one detective wrote a 37-page police report detailing every action he did and left out every conversation that Tom Bledsoe had with him. He also said, that's homicide 101. If you have a confession, it should be noted, but the fact that it is nowhere in the document is beyond suspicious. We know that Mike Hayes, who was involved in the beginning of the case representing Tom Bledsoe, told him he would take Tom Bledsoe off the hot seat and put Floyd on it. So this was, they're saying, all calculated by the state to force Tom to do this. Floyd Bledsoe said investigators inexplicably turned their investigation toward him when he was like, what the fuck? I was being quoted in the paper as, thanking people. So, December 9th, 2015, attorneys with the Project for Innocence and Post-Conviction Remedies at the University of Kansas argue on Floyd's behalf that the new report showed sperm from Camille's body came from Tom Bledsoe. Right. And on Tuesday, the county's top prosecutor did not dispute that and asked for Floyd Bledsoe's conviction to be scrapped and the charges vacated.
How about this?
They said Floyd broke into a huge smile, and the same judge who presided over his murder trial and the guy who sentenced him to life in prison said, quote, the defendant is to be released. So he had to say, I fucked that one up. He said he didn't know what to do with himself. He said that he was longing for a steak. They've been in prison for 16 years. I'd love a steak. And he said, I'd like to return to milking cows.
That he wants to do that again?
He said, and quote, something peaceful and quiet for a while.
How about
he just
sue and don't do shit?
Well, let's talk about that. He said, quote, it's all just barely sinking in, which I don't fucking blame him. He said it's all just sinking in, and he just kind of was choking up, and he said, quote, I can't change the past.
No, you can't.
So this dude, holy shit, is he calm. They would have to recuff me because I'd be like, I told you motherfuckers, I'll kill you, you fucking asshole motherfucker. I'd be fucking trying to strangle the prosecutor. I'd be fucking calling the judge a cocksucker. You fucking hack cocksucker. Fuck you. Put me in jail for this now. I don't give a fuck anymore.
You'd be the first guy that was ever released
My
from
kids
prison.
are 18.
You'd be the first guy released from prison in a Hannibal Lecter mask.
In a Hannibal Lecter, Get him outside. Get him outside.
Get him the fuck out.
I would lose my fucking mind. Man, this whole thing here. And there's a lawsuit, 2016. Now, in this lawsuit, this is a weird thing. The first theory put forth by Tom in the suicide notes here is that he's the killer, obviously, and him and the victim had consensual sex at Tom's parents' home where he was living. They left the house, and he asked her never to discuss the sexual encounter. And he says in a note, quote, that's when I found out she was 14, and I freaked out, which she knew. She had to know. Right. So but in the note, maybe he was trying to just take a little bit off of himself here. That's sort of natural. He's taking a lot on, so to try to get a little off is normal. He said, and I freaked out, so I drove up to the ditch where the family dump trash was, and I tried to convince her not to tell. He said, everything was happening so fast I couldn't think. I went to my truck to get my 9mm that was behind the seat, pushed her to the ground, tried to scare her, but it failed, and when the gun went off behind her head, it was an accident. I didn't mean to kill her. So, another thing here, there's another theory here put forth by Floyd in a lawsuit. He alleges that Jim Woods, who's a KBI agent who investigated the murder, and other law enforcement evidence officers, quote, withheld their documentation of Tom's detailed confession that he tried to have sex with Camille in his truck, that she had laughed, and that he had shot her. Because that's something he said that that had been talked about. So they said that there are reasons to doubt Tom's suicide note details because he knew the victim. He knew that it was her sister-in-law, knew her for several years, attended church services, knew how old she was, knew she wasn't 18. Put it that way. He knew she wasn't of age.
There was a gap.
Now they also talk about this, though, that Tom had intellectual limitations, is what they call it, but nothing that was deep enough to not know her age. He wasn't, he was just not a bright guy, but not anything like that was, this is Camille. It wasn't anything like that. Hi, Camille. It was nothing, no shit like that.
He may not be a bright man, but he knows what rape is.
He knows what rape is, and he knows what underage is.
Yeah.
They also said ballistic tests show the first gunshot that struck her was fired horizontally to the back of her head.
Yeah.
That was a contact injury, and they said the gun was pressed right against her head, and that would make a lot of sense. In the suicide note, he describes pushing her to the ground and the gun going off behind her head, which would be at an angle. Right. But they said it was pretty horizontal, which sounds like his other thing where he was in the truck. She laughed, tried to get out of the truck. That would be a horizontal shot to the back of the neck. So either way, Tom, in his own admission, had the murder weapon in his truck, and he had cuts on her back that led her to conclude that led the coroner to conclude that she'd been dragged to the pile where she'd been found, and circumstantial evidence on the whole theory. So, yeah. So, December of 2016, he's out. Floyd's out. The lawsuit's going on. Yeah. He's been out for a year. Think about that. He's been out for a year for raping and killing a teenager. He went in jail when he was 25, Jimmy. He's fucking 41 now. His kids are adults. Yeah. His Cody is 18 years old. Right. His wife has divorced him. He has nothing. Did she leave? Yeah, they were getting a divorce anyway. Okay. So she left. His kids are now older. He missed their entire lives. And you can't now out. You can't pay. And everybody thought you're a fucking rapist monster. Imagine the shit he took in prison.
Oh, he's got to go wander around a 1,000-person town where every time that somebody sees him, they're just like, geez.
How many times he get punched in the mouth in prison for fucking nothing? Yeah. For nothing. For shit he didn't do. Yeah. They interview him. I mean, I'd just be still screaming. Yeah. I'd still be like, you motherfuckers are still here. I haven't shut up since then. Yeah. He says, quote, I'm very happy. Which, wow. Mm-mm. He says, I live every day trying to enjoy it. Every night I look out at the stars. Mm-hmm. That's his fucking thing here. He said over the past year, he was taken aback when he noticed how much things have changed since he was locked away. Imagine going to jail in 1999 and coming out in 2016. Oh, God. 2015.
James, there's no tower there.
There's no, our computer's all in the thing.
The screen.
It's all in the screen. Dude, imagine in 1999, we're talking primitive cell phone. Yeah. Doesn't even have cameras on them yet. No. Internet is fucking modem. Right. You're doing net zero and shit. You're doing
video games. You went from Nintendo 64 to Xbox.
Yeah, well, no, the PlayStation 1 was out, but still,
right. But he
fucking
went from
PlayStation 3 was out when he came out
to Xbox One. Now
he was in jail for 3 PlayStations. That's a shitload.
That's
four
a lot of jail.
4 was out when he came out. He was in jail for 3 whole fucking PlayStation releases. That's too much goddamn jail. That's a lot. The whole world is different. For Christ's sake, what the fuck is going on? He's like a fucking black guy's president.
Oh,
what?
Boy,
what happened?
Where did
Jesus
this come
Christ,
from?
This is crazy. Maybe he liked that. Good for him.
I hope he did.
He said, quote, this is so funny. He said, everything's changed. The simple things, quote, they got Bluetooth in the vehicles and all of that. So that's kind of nice. So he's happy with the changes there. He was at Sterling College, where he lives in that area, and he has a girlfriend there that he met when he was in prison. He said, quote, we've known each other for about 8 years. She was a volunteer, and then she got married, moved away, and then she got divorced. Then we found each other on Facebook, and we just started talking. After 6 months, we started dating. Nice, good thing for him. For work, he has a job working as an installer for a heating and air conditioning. He's doing HVAC in Lyons, Kansas. He says he, quote, does both commercial and residential installs. Yeah. So good for you.
Stays the fuck out of the woods.
I don't go near the woods, and I don't know anything about guns. No. He said in his spare time he likes to travel. He says he's doing it. He's giving speeches all around the country, obviously, from everyone from defense attorneys to judges. He says that he was going to, the day they talked to him, he was going to give a speech to law students. Yeah. He said, quote, this is the next generation coming up that's going to be deciding our courts running for office. These young people can be the change to stop the injustice. And he tries to be that change too. In 2018, he is fighting for wrongfully convicted people in Kansas to get compensation.
Good for him.
At this point, they don't get any compensation in Kansas. None.
No, they get the freedom. That's it.
Dick. Yeah. He says, quote, from the simple tasks of trying to find a place to live to how to find furniture, how to get the stuff you need to survive. Yeah. Imagine like his situation. Everybody's gone. You've been in jail 16 years. You don't even know how to work a phone. Right. Like, you know nothing. You have no money and you're plunked out on the street and they're like, have a good one. Survive.
Get a job, bitch.
Get a job and figure out how do you even, where do you go? What do you do? You don't know any, you don't even know what
And you got to buy
a dress,
bed,
nothing.
You got so much shit you've got to buy.
Yeah, he said that he had, when he first got out of prison, he had to borrow clothes from his attorney. His attorney brought him, like, here's some shit I was going to give to Goodwill. You can have it instead, because he didn't have any clothes.
I worked out in this last night. Throw it on.
Yeah, he had nothing. He said, quote, "It's hard for people to comprehend what it's like to walk out after being labeled a murderer and a child molester," which... Holy shit. There's a bill before the Senate Judiciary Committee in Kansas that would help those wrongfully convicted be compensated and give them resources to start a new life. The attorney with the Innocence Project said, and this is fucked up, she says, and this is true too, quote, "Ironically, they would have gotten more from the state of Kansas if they were guilty, because they would have gotten $100 in gate money and would have gotten access to job training and mentorship programs."
That's what they get.
That's what they get.
$100.
$100, a fucking bus ticket home, and you know, you can show up for this job training program.
Whoa.
But they don't even get the $100 if you're Floyd. They just say bye and kick your ass out. He doesn't even have $100.
You don't belong here.
You don't belong here.
Out.
Bye. Have a good one. The bill says the bill is for wrongfully convicted people can file a lawsuit in district court after their release, and then a judge can grant them $80,000 per year they were incarcerated, which I think is fucking fair.
Yeah,
at least.
It's a good number.
At least.
Yeah.
We're talking wrongfully convicted in jail. I would say, what do you think you're going to make? And then fucking times that by 10.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. The pain and suffering of being in prison while your children are growing up is fucking incalculable. You can't get that back.
No.
There's no getting that back. There's no getting your life back.
No.
There's no getting your from 25 to 41 back.
Yeah.
That's a big window of where you should be doing a lot of shit.
And when that 25 to 41 is so horribly tainted.
Horribly. You've been in prison labeled a child molester.
Everybody in town knows that story. Not just the story. They know the ins and the outs.
Nobody likes you. Nobody supports you.
No.
Holy shit. Is this
For all they know, that you still did it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think he did. If it wasn't for detailed suicide notes from his brother, this is the craziest fucking shit.
What the shit?
They arrest Tom. Yeah. He says, never mind. They arrest Floyd. Okay, I guess Floyd did it. No, he didn't. It's fucking Tom again. Whoa. This is for 16 years, his own fucking brother. His own brother. Holy shit.
That's horrible.
It's fucking amazing. Well, that's Small Town Murder.
My Christ.
We are sorry we could not bring that to you last week, because obviously that crazy ass story we really wanted to get into slightly more detail. Our computer tried to do a Windows 10 update.
Right.
We didn't ask it to.
Nope.
We didn't fucking tell it to. It just decided it was going to when I turned it on. Right. And it fucked around for about an hour and a half, and then it figured out that our computer, which is a piece of shit that we bought for cheap because we were trying to get a studio going on our own here, we found out that computer can't handle Windows 10.
So what does it do? It reverts back to Windows 7.
Windows says, well, shit, we can't use 10. Let's go back to 7. Right. Only what does Windows 10 do? It fucking deletes 7 is the first thing it does when it goes in. So then it had no operating system.
0. And
it went to a black screen with a little start button that if you press on it, nothing would happen. Right. And one icon, which was a recycle bin, that if you click on it, it said it doesn't recognize this whatever the fuck module or whatever the fuck it was.
Horrible.
And that's all it was. And there was nothing we could fucking do. We could have given, I guess, a half-assed hotel room road mic show, but fuck that, man. We wanted to give you a good show. This story's too good. We didn't want to waste it, and we thought it was worth the extra wait. And most people were really okay about it, and they're fine. We got a couple people that were kind of honestly pissy about it, and I don't know why. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Sorry, I mean, tough shit. I don't know what to tell you.
What do you create that's so scary good?
Well, it's
and how do you get to criticize others who didn't? It's not like we just didn't do it.
I got a message calling me a liar, calling me a fucking liar, and my excuses, and constantly Small Town Murder. We should just release it fortnightly and not really. And I was like, we've missed 1 week since June. This was our first time we've missed since June, and that was intentional too. Yeah. And then it just happened to come after we took Thanksgiving off. And
sorry you didn't have a free fucking show for 2 weeks.
I mean, fuck, dude. We loved it. We want to put the show out, too. We felt fucking terrible. We didn't want... Jimmy came over here, tired as fuck, where we both had to travel the next day.
I sat here for 4 goddamn hours. I could have recorded a fucking show.
We could have done 2 shows in the time that we sat here. So we don't ever want to leave you. Yeah.
You fucking liar.
If you don't get a podcast, believe me, it's for a reason.
And you'll have that reason.
And we'll give you the reason. and we're
afraid to
super
tell you
honest.
anything.
Even if fucking one of us overslept, we'd be like, we overslept, we fucked up. We will tell you what we'll do. We have no shame. We're
Done it
comedians.
before.
We're comedians. We don't have any fucking shame.
Jesus.
We'll tell you exactly what's up. And
fucking liar.
And I'm a liar, man. So otherwise, it's just we want to put out a show. Yeah. So we're not trying to not put out a show. We're really trying to put out a show. We enjoy putting out a fucking show. So enjoy that show. And if you do enjoy that show, I have a thing that you can do here.
Yeah,
it's a little thing. It's a couple things. One of them, I don't know if we've ever mentioned this before, but you can go to iTunes,
you can do
the
that.
Apple Podcast, the purple icon there, and give us 5 stars. Why don't you?
You know, there's a funky algorithm.
You know, that it's dancing around. You got to feed iTunes and their funky algorithm. So please feed its funky algorithm and show it who's boss and help drive us up the charts. Doesn't matter what you say. It's just for business purposes. It's not for our ego. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com where you can find links to our social media. You can follow us. We are at Murder Small on Twitter, at Small Town Pod on Facebook, and at Small Town Murder on Instagram there. Also, you can follow those links to the merchandise to get t-shirts and cups and mugs and leggings. Now there's leggings. And also get your tickets for the very last week of the full-on tour. We will be in Boston on Thursday. This is what, the 13th? 13th, Thursday the 13th. We will be Detroit on the 14th, Chicago on the 15th, and
16th,
Silver Springs, Maryland,
You bet.
right outside of Baltimore there. So
bring my fat ass home the next day.
Holy shit. It's going to be crazy. Do that. Also, January 25th at the Neptune in Seattle.
Absolutely.
And we'll let you know about the exact details on the West Palm Beach Improv. Florida show in February. We've been asked to go to Florida a lot, so fuck it. We're going to go there.
Drive down, everybody.
Drive down. Anybody
West
down in that
Palm
area,
Beach.
get your ass down. Florida's all drivable, and just go. You know, wherever you live sucks. Come down and hang out with us there. So with that said, do all of that shit. Get on there. Also, another thing you could do on there is you can be a hero. Yeah. You can be a goddamn superstar hero producer like the people we're going to talk about right now. And damn it, Jimmy, I would like you to hit me with it like a false murder charge. Right now, hit me with that list.
This week's executive producers, in no particular order of importance, are Michael Kennedy, Stephen Rude, Lisa Hewitt, Chrissy Ann Castaldi. Again, God damn it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chrissy.
By the way, he's lying. He meticulously ranked them in order of importance to him. I mean, it took him an hour, so don't. Your backgrounds were looked into. It was the process.
Candace Kennedy, thank you so much, by the way, for all the gifts.
Yeah,
You're
we
fucking
appreciate
amazing.
it. Thank you.
Carrie Clark, thank you very, very much. That was a very sweet gift. Jennifer Lamb and Leah Egan, who upped her Patreon. She's terrific.
Thank you so much.
The Egan sister. We'll
so
see her in Boston.
Hey,
Thank
awesome.
You.
Can't wait.
This week's other producers are Hunter Perry, Scott Wiles, Bill Szynski, Nicole Vaughn, Margie Kunze, who's been around forever.
Oh gosh,
Thank
she's
you,
the
Margie.
best. Thank you. You're not saying you're old.
Right.
You've been with us forever. Not you've been. She's like Methuselah, this Margie boy. She's
Margie.
What is she? 90, 100?
Goodness.
Christ Almighty!
Good
How's she still alive?
Stephanie Igoa, Jennifer Levinson, Hannah Turley, Reagan Shockley. No, it's Shockley. Shackley.
Reagan, Shockley.
You're terrific.
Thank you, Reagan.
Under the Sea Fabrics, again, thank you. Sarah Carter, Molly Hewitt. That was Lisa Hewitt. So Molly Hewitt, Lauren Demarath, Cammie Yoakum, Patricia Grace, Paul Ruist. Paul Ruist is
He's the man.
The guy's fantastic.
Dude, thank you, Paul. You are a good dude. We appreciate you.
Casey Handel, Alyssa and Barbara Rouse, Jesse Hartman, who I mentioned is handsome as a motherfucker.
He already got his shout out. He called him. You told everyone how much you wanted to fucking blow him. I think that was good enough for a shout out.
He looks like the guy that fucked what's his name's wife in God, what's his name? God damn.
You're giving me really nothing terrible. To go on. You're literally. Not even, I can't even have half of that equation. Just a guy who fucked another guy's wife. Could be anybody.
Is it Along Came Polly? It is Along Came Polly. It's
okay.
He banged the chick from Will and Grace.
Okay, fair enough.
He looks like him.
Fair,
Good for you, Jesse. You're handsome.
Nice job.
Jessica Pilkington, Shalima Althaus or Althaus, Althus, Crystal Lamb, Monj Sanga over there in Europe. Thanks, you, Monj. You're a hell of a dude.
Definitely.
Amanda with no last name, Patrick Haggerty, Ricky Fitzpatrick, Miranda Lightholder, Martina Liluanga.
Oh,
right?
Martina. Yeah, it's our girl there.
I'm not going to say her last name.
Oh, she's
it's
the
Martina.
best.
She's
Yay,
terrific.
Martina, we love you.
Thank you. Catherine Collada, Jennifer's... shit, what have I done?
Jennifer, quote, shit, what have I done?
Sapienza. That's what it is.
That's a good name.
P or F. Is that an F? Sapienza. Jennifer, you're amazing.
Hey, Paisan. Good job, Jennifer.
Stephen Crumley, Greg Stevens, Stephen Clark, Gary Howard, who also sent a gift. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Matthew Dietrich, Tegan Bailey, Lindsay Rustin, or Rustan, Ashley Vio. She's been around for. Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah,
You're
she's cool.
so
Thank
nice
you.
to us. We appreciate it. Trevor J. Atkins. Kim Jisoo, Tyler Sheets, Sarah Hines, Rachel Neves, Justin Miller around every goddamn week.
Yeah,
thank you,
you,
Justin. Taryn Fryer, Elizabeth Farrell, Bryant Toole, Dr. Greggles, Sierra McGillivray.
Your mouth just didn't want to make that noise.
What? Chrissy Corbiel, Blaine, with no last name, Justin Byrne, Rachel Cascaden. I just argued with my head and my eyes. Yeah. William Northcutt, Sydney Oaks. That's what that is.
Sydney.
It's a CYD. Yeah, that's why it fucked me. Sydney Oaks. James Fraker. Yeah, that's that dude down in L.A. James. Thank you,
cool.
James.
Thank you.
Zach Martin, Jerry Hutton, Wilson Effects LLC, Julie Bailey, Emil Svenrup. That's a tough one.
That's
Emil.
rough.
It's Emil.
Hey, Emil, how you doing?
Tim Maney, John Watson, Tiffany Gonzalez, Michael Heidner, Fayanez. I think that's right. Mariah Menhiel.
Hey, Mariah.
Thank you, Mariah. Kathmandu Real Estate, Carrie Gage, Erica Green, Raymond Briggs, Kirsty Flatjord. Flitjord. I don't know. It's fucking Swiss, right?
They'll say it fast.
Just do a real
Flitjord. That's there. That's perfect.
Kirsty, thank you.
Thank you.
Jessica Christensen, Morgan Elliott, Renee McCulley Kelly, Talena Jensen. Oh, that's Talena. I don't think Talena is her name that she goes on Facebook. Jensen, I recognize, and I think it's different. I'm not sure. I'm a dope. Jennifer Ridicott, Ross Hetherington, Ariana Folsom. Thank you, Ariana. Cody Leversey. Yeah. Yes. Jamie Jubert. It's spelled different. That's why I giggle. Christopher Battaglia, Nicole Rivas, Junior Perry, Jamie Sullivan, Peyton Meadows, Jordan Sewart, and this was 2 weeks, so it's a little bit more.
Yeah, that's all good. Thank you, guys.
Nicola Gaskin, Jessica Lowry. What am I doing? Liz Nice Slice Smith. She was up there in Minnesota.
Hey,
thank you. Delaney Inman, Jacinda Minor, Josh Smith, Jared Waters, Kevin Wilson, Sean Wickham, Maggie L, Veronica Wolflover. What? No.
Wolflover?
Wolflova. Wolfalova.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Veronica with a K, too. That's fucks me every time. Krista Zachman, Ryan Golbeck, Amanda Brewstad. Yes. Danielle Belusi, but I think that's a dude. I think it's Daniel.
Yeah, it's Daniel. We've gone over this before.
Daniel Belusi.
Yeah. Sorry, Daniel.
Yeah, sorry, man. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Charlene Zamler, Gisela Garbo, fucking damn it. Gisela Garmabozia,
what a
Gisela
mess.
Garmabozia, Dada Fleischer.
Yes.
Boom. 7 times the charm. Brian Price, Danielle Rucker Vieira, Rachel Robbins, Morgan Gibson, Patrick Mitchell, designs by Lucas, Natalie Martin Chich. Martin and then Chich.
Okay. Martin Chich.
This is difficult. Jamie Sullivan, Indiana Quilon, Kaina Jams. I think that's right.
Okay.
It's probably Kaina Junis or Janice. Kaina Janice.
Okay.
I think that's right.
There we go.
Zach Stevens, Katie Polis, Amy Grake, Grace Eccles, Isaac Stemple, Paul Landis, Mary McKenzie, Lawton Melmop. That's what it is. Mike Miller, Emily Rose. I think that's the gal up in New Hampshire. I think that's her. Matthew Waller, Delaney Trotter, Justice Byrne, David Calvert, Chris Norris, Janae Content, Patty Vincent, Beth Carlton, Rachel Fake I think that's right. Cor Flores, Catherine Hardwick, Danny Way, Walter Esterby, and Lee Stevens. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, folks, so much. Honestly, Jesus Christ,
we can't do it without you.
We can't do it. We complained that one person bitched, but most of you are like totally cool. Yeah. We get it. Like you guys. We know we figure after all these episodes, after almost 250 podcast episodes of both podcasts, you can count on us that we're trying.
We do our damnedest.
We're really trying our best. We don't put out shit product. We really try to make it top notch and as much as we can. So. Thank you for that. What if somebody wanted to tell you you're top notch, Jimmy? How could they do it?
You can find me at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks, on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And it really is. It's something. When you hear something that about somebody's life that's so goddamn personal, it's really nice when you guys tell us the ins and outs of what this means to you. So thanks, I appreciate it. How can they tell you, James?
You can find me at Jimmy P is Funny on Twitter and all that shit there. Copy and paste my last name from the show description if you want to find me on Instagram, because that's at James Pietragallo. Right. And if you want to just look up whatever the fuck, do that, and shit on our website and all that and blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. This was a fucking crazy episode.
A ridiculous story.
How crazy of a story. How have we not heard this story?
That should be much more popular.
It should be everywhere. Yeah. It is nowhere. Like, it's crazy. I couldn't believe how little this fucking story was covered.
Did they buy it just because he was whacking? Did they
I don't know.
He's got to be telling the truth.
He told us about the dog.
He just divulged that he was fucking dogs.
He told us about the dog, so
he's clearly telling the truth.
This is crazy, but we'll have more, and not even until next week, until tomorrow, where we will release another episode on Friday. So until tomorrow.
Maybe he will. He's a fucking liar.
We will see you tomorrow.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country, who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.